videos about the Marvel Universe, starting with the top 10 superheroes. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 76. Loki's angry voice echoed throughout the hall. It woke up countless people at once. That's right. Who told that monster? They must find out. Just when Asgard was angry and wailing at the same time. The video continues. When Frigga was stabbed with a knife. A terrifying force of thunder pierced the sky. Thor, the god of thunder, appeared at this moment and forced the two men back with his own power, but in the end, he still failed to save his mother's life. The scene changes at night. The background music is sad and melodious, but also carries a hint of prayer and hope. I saw countless planets like Skyland 10 slowly rising into the sky, flying into the vast universe with the prayers of countless Asgardian people. Frigga's body was lying quietly on a lone boat. Floating into the distance with the prayers of countless people. The whole scene is extremely grand and magnificent. Accompanied by a rocket flying out. The boat burns then. When you are about to fall into the waterfall. Odin held the spear of eternity and slammed it into the ground. It was like hitting the hearts of countless people watching the video, and they suddenly trembled. Immediately afterwards, I saw that the Queen of Heaven turned into dazzling stars and disappeared into the Milky Way. Thor, the god of thunder, used to be very high-spirited, but he only knew how to fight with his blood. After this experience, I grew up overnight and began to learn to think. At this time. Lin Lan's deep voice sounded. Let countless people wake up from sadness. Yes, as a prince. Witnessed his mother die in front of him. What a sad picture this is. They expect, they pray, that Thor can avenge the queen. Avenge the queen. Revenge the queen. Kill the dark elves. Those bastards. Thor, I believe you. The expectations of countless people were filled. They not only want to see Thor grow up. Junyangsan Key 19 I also hope to see Thor's revenge. The video continues above the main hall. Thor and Odin are at loggerheads. The former hopes to take Jane to find the dark elves and kill them. Odin thought it was too risky. Responded, even if he dares to invade, his army will fall to 10,000 Asgardian elite soldiers. How many people will die at their hands? Here. The pupils of countless people dilated rapidly. They had no idea. This is actually what Thor, the god of thunder, would say. In their impression. Thor is a reckless blood warrior, but now it's obvious he began to think about the Asgardian soldiers. However, Odin seemed a little irrational. I don't care. We will fight until the last man falls, until the last drop of blood is shed. But when people see this scene. I was even more shocked than before. They had never seen such an irrational side of Odin. It just highlights from the side how deeply Odin loves Frigga. But this also creates a problem. That is, Thor cannot leave Asgard without Odin's permission. We can only do as he said, sit back and wait for death. After his mother passed away, Thor, the god of thunder, has grown up, begun to consider the consequences, and even gained a certain understanding of life. 577. However, when he proposed his idea, he was strongly stopped by his father, and even the way out of Asgard was blocked. But, will Thor, the god of thunder, really give up his ideas and sit back and wait for death? The answer is, of course not. When countless people thought that Thor could not carry out his plan. Lin Lan's words suddenly rang out. The background music also gradually became louder at this time. Let countless people break free from the sadness just now. Now they are full of expectations. Want to see how Thor left Asgard. Right now. The scene changes. I saw Thor coming to the dungeon. In a cell. Countless people saw Loki's figure. They believed that Loki should have been imprisoned after receiving the punishment he deserved after the Battle of New York. After some conversation. People saw this extremely proud god sitting on the ground in a state of embarrassment. But no one scolded him for what he did in New York. Because they know that Loki's heart at this time should be the same as Thor's, sad and lost. So the two hit it off. Planning to sneak out of Asgard. Along the way. Loki became a soldier again and Captain America again. This kind of illusion is astonishing. And heard him teasing Thor for the first time. This is so unlike you, brother. You actually act in secret. Yes, spare 2. Skirts JIU in the past. Thor just picked up the hammer and did it. Don't care. But it's different now. He has grown. I also understand that many solutions cannot be solved by recklessness, and just then. Jane was also brought over by her comrades just when countless people thought they were frightened by the battle just now. Jane will have a passionate kiss with Thor. The result was unexpected. Jane strode forward towards Loki, pointed at him and said, "It's you, etc. Do they know each other? Something is wrong." People who were watching the video moved out of their small benches and prepared to eat. There is even speculation. Did the two brothers fall in love with the same woman? The anticipation is high. They like this bloody plot of brothers fighting very much. Chapter 77. Loki in the video is also personable. He looks at Jane walking towards him, slightly raises the corner of his mouth, and says, feeling good about himself, "I'm Loki, you must have heard of me." Snapped. Just when Rocky was feeling good about himself, and the people watching the video were ready to eat melon. The crisp sound of a slap echoed through the video. It's like being slapped on everyone's face. It's so hot. Countless people's pupils expanded rapidly, and they all took a deep breath. In the video, Jane came up and slapped Loki. "Good guy. Just call him good guy." In the front, the Hulk beat two gods, and in the back, a hot girl slapped two gods alike. Thor and Loki, who were watching the video, were stunned in place. Loki, "Father, please listen to my explanation." 62. Loki is dead too? Wait, how did he become Odin? Phew, hilarious. Although many people were still immersed in sadness just now. But the sudden slap made countless people laugh. They never thought of it. Thor and Loki are so similar when it comes to taking a beating. Even Loki himself. The pupils are all rapidly dilated. Obviously. He also panicked. He didn't know this woman either. But it feels like a scumbag who abandoned a woman, only to not recognize her when they met again. This crisp slap was like a real slap on his face. Hot. He quickly explained, "Father, please listen to my explanation. I don't know this woman either. I really don't know her. I definitely didn't abandon her." The more Loki explained, the more confused he became. Exactly the same as Thor just now. However, in the universe, laughter also resounded. Ha ha ha. No, no, no. I'm laughing so hard. Why did Loki get slapped too? I was still immersed in the sadness of the Queen's death just now, but when I saw this scene, I'm sorry, I couldn't hold it back. It was so funny. Ha ha ha. In the front, there was the Hulk who violently beat two gods, and in the back, there was a hot girl who slapped the two gods. This hot girl and the Hulk are both so brave. Ha ha ha. Tell me, did Loki let this woman down? And he didn't even remember this woman's name. In the universe. The atmosphere immediately became lively. Even though the Queen's death just now swept her away with sadness, but seeing this scene. Even the most emotional people are crying and laughing at the same time. Although this video is generally depressing, there are some laughs throughout. Let countless people feel relieved instead of crying like the last video. Very good. Very good. Just when they thought that Loki had failed this woman. But I didn't expect it. In video. John Liu frowned and said without any sign of weakness, "This slap is for New York." That's right. Jane is so hot and brave. So what if he is a god? She still smokes. Hiss. When I understand why Jane smokes. Loki. Countless people gave thumbs up. I admire Jane's courage even more. Loki was slapped and didn't care about it. Instead, he glanced at Thor and smiled evilly. "I like her. Of course. This liking refers to Jane's character. Then, under the expectant eyes of countless people, they use the strategy of driving the tiger away from the mountain, escaped from Asgard, and came to the dark world. Eerie and dark. When weird music plays in the background. People who are watching the video feel the dark and depressing atmosphere in the dark world. As if it can invade the soul. The scene changes on the spaceship. Jane had already fallen asleep. And the conversation between Thor and Loki also sounded, "Give her up. There is no way this woman will survive. Even if she survives, she will be deprived of time." Loki Looked at the sleeping Jane. There was absolutely no hope that she would survive. After all, there are other particles in her body. Even if it can be separated. Let's not talk about whether their plan can be successfully implemented. It's just a matter of time. Is the lifespan of their gods comparable to that of ordinary mortals? So Loki is very dissatisfied with Thor and Jane. However, the words of Thor, the god of thunder, made people see the gentle side of this macho man. No, I will never give up on her. The camera zooms in. You can see Thor's eyes delicately and clearly. Tenderness is like water, vowing to be eternal. This gave countless viewers watching the video goosebumps. The scene changes. The background music is low and sad. Only seen in the video. View from above. The army of dark elves is densely packed. Along with a sky full of wind and sand. The momentum caused is particularly amazing, but the camera turned. This side. Just Thor and Loki and Jane. See this scene. Countless people's hearts trembled. Needless to say. The combat prowess of the two sides is completely incomparable. Some people have even recognized Odin's words. Thor bringing Jane with other particles here is undoubtedly a trap for himself. Just when they thought Thor and Loki were about to fight the army of dark elves, the background music suddenly became urgent. Let the hearts of countless people beat with bang bang bang. Then they looked in shock and disbelief. Loki suddenly took out a dagger and stabbed Thor and severely chopped off his right hand. Boom, boom, boom. Silence, speechless. Everyone who was watching the video froze in place when they saw this scene. My mind went blank. My heart was as shocked as a huge wave. They never imagined that Loki would switch sides at this time. Chapter 78. He also brutally cut off Thor's right arm. Holy shit. Loki, you fucking betrayed me. How could this happen? You are the Prince of Asgard. How could you do such a thing? Hateful. Hateful. So hateful. I didn't expect that he not only invaded the earth, but also betrayed Asgard. He should be killed directly. The whole universe was shaken by the invective and roaring. Even within Asgard, there was a lot of scolding. Countless people shifted their attention from the dimensional platform to Loki. They all showed expressions of shock, confusion, and anger. Even Odin above. Unable to control himself, he slammed the eternal spear to the ground. The pressure released is more powerful than before. It blasted Loki away directly after seeing that Frigga would die. Odin's anger was now rising. However, Loki would betray. He couldn't bear it even more. However, just when countless people were reviling and accusing Loki. And video. Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves, came to see the situation. Jane was raised with one hand. And stripped the other particles out of her body. See this scene. Thor, who should have fallen to the ground in agony, still had the strength to roar, "Loki, hurry!" At this time. The background music becomes extremely loud. At this time. It made the heartstrings of countless people tighten. They all stopped criticizing and criticizing. Staring at the videos on the dimension platform. When Thor said this, Loki surged out with magical power, immediately cast a spell on Thor. Then in the eyes of countless people in shock and disbelief. Thor, who had lost his arm, has returned to his original form. Boom. Seeing this scene, countless people were as shocked as if they were struck by 5 thunders. I can't believe it at all. It turned out that everything just happened was fake. It turned out to be a show for Malekith. Hiss. It turned out to be an illusion. Damn it. When did it happen? Holy crap. So that's it. Then did I blame Loki wrongly just now? I apologize. It seems that Loki is very smart. Ahem. Well, it seems that Loki is still a good prince. You were the one who scolded me the most just now. Just as countless people apologized in embarrassment. Above the Great Hall of Asgard, the atmosphere was filled with extreme embarrassment. The gods scratched their heads. Even Odin sitting above the throne. He also coughed. Loki, I think we all blamed you wrong. Here. The words Loki climbed up from the ground with difficulty. His face looked as aggrieved as a bittergourd. Is it easy for me to come up with such a good idea? Woo 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 cap. While countless people were embarrassingly apologizing. They are also looking forward to it. Will Loki and Thor's plan be as successful as they imagine? The video is still going on. Boom. When Thor recovers, Mjolnir was summoned. And he condensed the raging and violent thunder power in his body on the hammer, and then released it in one breath. and then a bolt of lightning mixed with heaven-destroying energy shot out and bombarded the other particles. Boom. Earth-shattering explosions resounded through the sky. Terrifying scarlet energy ripples washed away, and with an explosion, the other particles turned into a pile of fragments just when countless people thought that the other particles had been destroyed. The musical atmosphere suddenly became tense and urgent. It makes countless people feel that a huge crisis is coming. I saw that the other particles had become a pile of fragments, but not destroyed. Instead, he was absorbed by Malekith, the leader of the Dark Elves. Then left. The cursed warrior who killed Queen Frigga just now was left behind. See this scene. The anger of countless people surged into their hearts. They expected Thor to take revenge. But what countless people didn't expect was this. In video. The cursed warrior knocked Thor to the ground, and the latter was unable to fight back. The background music also becomes more desolate. Although this wave saved Jane. But he gave the other particles to the leader of the Dark Elves. However, even the enemy who killed his mother Thor can't even kill him. At this time. The sound of a sharp blade penetrating his chest sounded. Loki was seen holding a spear and piercing the cursed warrior. See this scene. Countless people were overjoyed. This feeling of revenge. Not to mention how comfortable it is. But what countless people didn't expect was another identical voice sounded. In the stunned eyes of countless people, the cursed warrior hugged Loki, and the spear inserted into its chest also passed through Loki. Sad. Pain. Incredible. Countless people wanted to say just now. Loki and Thor are wise and powerful. Working together will definitely make Asgard more glorious. But what they didn't expect was Loki also died. Why? Why are the people now like dead? Although Loki looks like he needs a beating, he doesn't feel bad. Hiss. Loki is dead. Thor just lost his mother, but he also lost his brother. How can he bear it? I don't dare to read anymore. I really don't dare to look anymore. In the universe. Countless people were moved to tears again. The mood is reinfected by the sad background music. They couldn't imagine it. Mother and brother left one after another. But at this moment. As Loki closed his eyes, Thor is also crying sadly in the video. It makes people watching the video cry even more. My mother and brother died one after another, which made him feel heartbroken, causing him great grief. Chapter 79. The heart of revenge is ignited, and his enemy does not know that what he is about to face is the wrath of the gods and the power of thunder. When Lin Lan's passionate voice sounded. Countless people are also gritting their teeth. He clenched his fists tightly. At this time, their eyes were red, not to mention Thor. They look forward to cutting the Dark Elves into pieces. Boom. The scene changes. Looking from below. Circle after circle can be seen in the sky. But if you think about it carefully, you will find it. This is extremely rare for the 9 major countries to be connected in one line. It is the perfect time for the leader of the Dark Elves, Malekith, to activate the other particles and plunge the entire universe into darkness. Whoops. The wind was blowing wildly. Malekith released the energy of the other particles in his body in one breath. Suddenly, the black and red mist surged and boiled like a tsunami, and immediately moved towards the circles in the sky, accompanied by huge storms, trying to plunge the entire universe into darkness. I saw that the 9 major countries were invaded by black and red storms at the same time. It was about to be completely swallowed up. Countless people watching the video were filled with doubts. They are expecting and praying that Thor can stop this. At this time, Thor appears. Malekith, Asgardians, the darkness is back. Are you here to see the annihilation of the universe? Boom. The center of the terrifying storm. While the two are having a conversation. Thor, the god of thunder, threw an instrument made by Jane and cut off Malekith's arms, but that didn't make Malekith panic. Instead, he said calmly, "Do you think you can stop me like this? Ether particles are indestructible, but you're not." Yes, even though he couldn't destroy the other particles, but he can defeat Malekith. Stop this. Avenge your mother and brother. Boom boom boom. The background music gradually started to burn. It seems to have stirred up the emotions of countless people. Their expectations were filled. Can Thor stop this? Boom. An astonishing sound of impact resounded, and the god of thunder was seen running out, rushing in front of Malekith in the lightning and flint, and the Thor's hammer in his hand was entangled with the power of thunder that destroyed the world. Fiercely, The ground bombarded Malekith's body, and the terrifying force directly sent him flying hundreds of meters away. Then he hit the building heavily, creating a huge crater, accompanied by countless gravel dust. The sand fell to the ground. At the same time the scene changes. Jane operates the instrument. Lee Zeo's Heyo teleported the Dark Elf spaceship and Malekith back to the Dark World. Moreover, due to the inertia of the huge spaceship, Malekith was heavily pressed below until he died. See this scene. People watching the video raised their arms and shouted. Thor finally wins. Yes, this is a new king. This is the king of Asgard. Finally. Finally killed that guy. It's so cool. Now, Thor, God of Thunder, will definitely be recognized by his father. That's right. Thor finally proved himself this time. He really did it. Just when countless people thought that Thor would return to Asgard and become the new king. But I didn't expect it. The screen changes. Thor told Odin that he would not inherit the throne. This choice is surprising. But it made people give it a thumbs up. That's right. Thor has been through so much. Just like what the author said. Keep losing, keep growing. Odin, sitting above, also agreed to Thor's request. Allowing him to return to Earth and spend his life with Jane. Go, my sons, and I will bless you in my heart. See this scene. Countless people felt warm in their hearts. I didn't expect Odin to end up. Thor's request was still granted. However, just when countless people were preparing to send barrage blessings, suddenly the background music became weird. All I saw was the throne. Odin's body glowed with light, and he turned into Loki. Boom, boom, boom. The pupils of countless people dilated rapidly. My heart is pounding and beating non-stop. Isn't Loki dead? Why is he sitting on the throne? Wait for the disaster. Where has Odin gone? Countless people once again felt the feeling of countless ants crawling inside their hearts. The anticipation is crazy. I hope the follow-up video can give them an explanation. Thanks to Reader Dad 15047 for his monthly ticket. 63. Thor lost everything. Loki really died. Holy area. Asgard. At this time, everyone in the hall was silent and speechless the moment they saw the spear piercing Loki's body. The tears couldn't stop flowing down. I can't continue watching at all. They couldn't imagine it. It's not just the queen who dies. Even Loki passed away one after another. This is a series of heavy blows to everyone in Asgard. So much so that they had no intention of watching the subsequent video. Do you really want Asgard to perish? This is not fair. Loki died too. Why? People turned their attention to Loki. His eyes were full of sympathy. He even said that starting from today, he would no longer speak ill of him. Odin on the throne also sighed when he saw this scene. He said to Frigga on the side, "It seems you really taught Loki to be a good boy." Here, the words. Frigga showed a gentle smile. Replied, "Of course, they are all our children." Yeah, that's right. Odin was proud. Chapter 80. Although he had said similar things before. But the behavior will be biased towards Thor, consciously or unconsciously. After all, no one in Asgard, except them, knows Loki's true life experience. But until now. Everything is not that important anymore. Just when everyone's view of Loki changed. Sudden, an exclamation resounded throughout the entire hall. Holy crap. This is not our king. This is Loki. Boom. At this time when countless people heard this voice they all turned their attention from Loki to the video on the dimensional platform when Odin on the throne suddenly turned into Loki. Countless people took a breath of cold air. His face was full of confusion. What happened? Isn't Loki dead? Why is he still here? And where is our king? Holy crap. Loki turned out to be faking his death. He also pretended to be Odin to take advantage of Thor. Damn it. It turns out you faked your death. I just shed so many tears for you. Not just Asgard. Some people who cried for Loki also cursed angrily. However, their focus was obviously not on Loki. But Odin. That's right. They want to know where Odin is. While let this 577 scheming guy make trouble, they need an explanation. But at this moment. The background music becomes sad. It shook the heartstrings of countless people. They don't know why. Suddenly I had a bad feeling. Thor, the god of thunder, is powerful. He controls the power of thunder and can destroy everything. It wasn't until he learned about the prophecy of Ragnarok that he began to realize that he was the prince of Asgard, but his real ordeal has just begun when Lin Lan's voice sounded. The hearts of countless people also sank. Could it be that what we have experienced before is not considered a hardship? Their expectations were heightened. I wonder what kind of horrific ordeals Thor will go through. Video continues. The scene changes. I saw a lava cave. The blazing high temperature caused the surrounding space to vibrate with ripples. Countless people saw Thor being tied up. And in front of him. It is Surtur, the giant of fire who caused Ragnarok. It's just that the fire giant in the video is not as big as previously seen in the Hulk video middle, but they learned change. It turns out that it is in the prophecy of Ragnarok. It shows that as long as Surtur obtains the eternal fire, he will be able to gain full power and cause the twilight of the gods umbrella. So people knew one after another why Thor came here. 7. It turns out that he already knew about the prophecy and came to stop it. Soon, the background music started to be fast and intense too. After a battle leak, Thor easily killed Surtur youngest and returned to Asgard, carrying his crown on his back. It's just that under the rule of Odin, Asgard is now very different from before. Leak, and all this was discovered by Thor, the god of thunder. Let Odin reveal his true form immediately. Transformed back into Loki. This scene. It also filled the expectations of countless people. Where did the real Odin go? Loki, where is my father? Okay, I'll tell you. When Thor pressed Loki. The screen also changes in 1 second. Only seen in the video. The two stood side by side. It's like arriving in a paradise. The sea breeze blew by. The green grass is lush and green. The two of them walked forward. I saw Odin standing there, looking into the distance alone. In the conversation with the two of them, he revealed that his end was approaching, and also revealed a secret. That is, the two of them have a sister named Hela. What? Odin's end is coming, and Odin has a daughter. Holy crap. It turns out there are not just 2 royal families, but 3. Oh my god. If Odin dies, can the 2 of them join forces to organize her in the universe? Countless people were shocked when they learned this secret. To be honest, they had no idea that Odin had a daughter, and also sealed it. Not only extremely powerful, but also extremely ambitious. Once released, then the entire universe will be devastated. But what countless people didn't expect was in the next second, Odin turned into countless photons and dissipated in the sky, truly leaving. Boom, boom, boom. See the scene. The hearts of countless people shook suddenly like a giant hammer. They couldn't believe that Odin, the father of the gods, would really pass away. When Odin dies, Hela, with its terrifying power, will break through the seal. Can the current Thor stop her? At this time, the background music suddenly became tense. At the author's rhetorical tone, countless people feel chills on their backs and numbness on their scalps before they have time to grieve, because in the video, the moment Odin passed away, the space behind Thor and Loki is not normal. A figure quickly walked out. Goddess of death, Hela. Silence, solidification. The background music sounded extremely tense at this moment. And in the video, Thor and Loki were also very nervous just facing Hela's request. He didn't agree. He poured all his power into his right hand and threw Mjolnir. Then, under the shocked and disbelieving eyes of countless people, Hela easily took Thor's hammer and crushed it into pieces. Hiss. Countless people took a breath of cold air. Chapter 81. It's not that they don't know how terrifying the power and material of Mjolnir's hammer are. But I didn't expect it at all. Was it easily shattered into pieces in the hands of the goddess of death, Hela. Such a power gap. How can he fight Thor? Holy crap. Crush Thor's hammer with your bare hands? What a powerful force you have. Alternate questions. Group successes. It's over. It's over. Now that Thor has lost his parents, is he going to die at the hands of his own sister? This power gap is too big. I feel that Thor will definitely lose. Despair still. Desperate. Countless people saw this scene. There is no longer any hope that Thor can defeat Hela. Even the background music is extremely sad. Let them also be immersed in this atmosphere. But then Lin Lan's voice rang again. Thor was devastated by the loss of his father and the loss of Mjolnir. Under the huge power gap, Thor has no power to fight back. But does he really rely on Mjolnir to exert his power? Of course not. He is the god of thunder. controls the power of thunder. When Lin Lan's passionate voice sounded. The background music quickly rose from low to intense. And everyone heard it. It's also a bright spot. Yes, Thor is the god who controls the power of thunder, and the Thor's hammer in his hand is just a weapon. What is truly powerful is his own strength. So the anticipation was crazy. I want to see Thor awaken. I saw the screen change. Hela pinched Thor, who had lost one of his eyes, pressed him against the guardrail, and asked with great disdain, "My brother, what kind of god are you?" When these words are spoken. Boom. Thunder rolled across the sky. And Thor's whole body is also wrapped with lightning arcs. In the picture, Odin's figure is looming. Accompanied by extremely exciting music. A bolt of lightning containing the energy to destroy the world fell from the sky and fell on Hela instantly. Boom. Earth-shattering explosions resounded through the sky, and the powerful force released by lightning blew Hela away hundreds of meters before falling heavily to the ground. Thor, the god of thunder, also controlled the power of thunder and went to the Rainbow Bridge to help the people of Asgard. See this scene. Countless people raised their arms and shouted. Thor looks stunned from the beginning of the video. Now I have awakened my true power. They saw Thor's growth along the way. I already recognized this silly guy in my heart. Thor, the god of thunder, has really grown a lot along the way. Compared to before, he seems to be more like a god of thunder now. Yes, Thor, god of thunder, will definitely become a wise king. Countless people admired it. After a fierce battle. Thor, the god of thunder, also sat in the seat in the center of the spacecraft. The people around him showed admiration. Already regarded Thor as the real king. But at this moment. The background music suddenly stopped. The screen also disappeared suddenly. Immediately afterwards the melodious sound of the piano sounded. It's that spaceship again. Countless people saw this scene. They all swallowed hard. They haven't forgotten. This is the spaceship that the Asgardians escaped from. It has appeared in the Hulk video before, but the protagonist is a Hulk. This time, is it finally Thor's turn? I don't want to see it. It must be very heartbreaking. The hearts of countless people are extremely heavy. Yes, although they have seen images of mountains of corpses, but watching it again now, even more cruel. The camera zoomed in. Accompanied by sad music. People saw the bodies of countless dead Asgardian people falling to the ground in confusion. But this time the footage shows more. I saw the guardian Heimdall lying on the ground seriously injured. The god of thunder was bound by metal. Heimdall and Thor were seen looking at each other. He immediately activated his magic to create a colorful beam of light, which wrapped the Hulk, who was beaten, into coma and sent him away. However, it was this behavior that angered Thanos. The sound of a sharp blade penetrating through the abdomen was heard. In Thor's desperate eyes, Heimdall died in front of him. It was like a thorn in everyone's heart. Despair, sadness, powerlessness, almost suffocating. But what countless people didn't expect was this: the screen changed again. Loki is pledging his allegiance to Thanos, but they could see that the dagger appeared in Loki's hand. Thrust. Loki is very fast. But it's not as fast as Thanos. With 2 gems, I saw Thanos grabbing Loki's neck and using hard force. "You will never become God." Loki struggled to say the words die with a click. It's fake. It must be fake. It must be a little trick played by Loki, right? You please. This time it must be fake. Silence. Countless people held their breath. Can't believe this is true. Some people who deceived themselves said that this must be another trick played by Loki. In fact, they already had the answer in their hearts. But when Thanos said that he was really dead this time, they themselves cannot deceive themselves. People throughout the universe who were watching the video choked up and shed tears of despair. God King Odin, Queen Frigga, Loki, Heimdall and countless Asgardian people died in front of Thor. He lost almost everything. At this time, the background music is extremely sad. Despair, powerless. The sound of the violin was like a knife cutting into their hearts. Extremely painful, even when they watch videos. What's more, what about Thor, who watched all this happen? Only seen in the screen. Thanos blew up the entire ship before leaving. That familiar scene appeared. Countless debris and asteroid belts crisscross the area. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. we cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 82. The space vibrates with layers of ripples. Then a spaceship appeared. Everyone who was immersed in sadness raised their heads and looked at the video. They are not willing to give in. I don't believe Thor will die. At this time a figure suddenly hit the glass of the spacecraft. He opened his eyes suddenly. It's Thor. It immediately made countless people excited. He's not dead. He's not dead. Thor has lost everything now. He has nothing to lose. I'm sure Thanos will pay the price. Countless people are angry and looking forward to Thor's revenge, and Lin Lan's voice also sounded at this moment. When a person loses everything, he is no longer afraid of losing, and that is exactly what Thor is like. He becomes stronger, more powerful, and overcomes obstacles. He wants the person who caused all this to feel the anger from the god of thunder. Kill him with his own hands. Lin Lan's voice seems to have magic power, making countless people watching the video excited. Their expectations were filled at this moment. They want to know how Thor will take revenge. I want to see the scene of killing Thanos with my own hands. Point 64. Fight against the neutron star. Thanos, get out of here. I didn't expect that the guy with a hammer in the future would be so miserable. At this time Wakanda, Tony and others stopped what they were doing. They originally thought that the love between Wanda and Vision was miserable enough. But they couldn't imagine it. Thor lost almost everyone he cared about. There are some laughs sprinkled throughout the video though. But it is precisely because of these laughs that the final ending is even more sad. It turns out that this is how Thanos' gems came from, and the reason why I didn't die was because of him. Thor, aside. Banner choked up and said. He had been curious before. Why didn't Thanos kill him after he knocked him unconscious? Only now do I know. It turned out that Heimdall used his last bit of power to teleport him away. As for where it was sent, Banner believes that it must be on Earth. Because Thanos will come later to snatch other gems. So Heimdall must have wanted to send a warning signal to the Earth. As for Captain America and Spider-Man on the side, they were also lost in thought. They are both emotional people. Still immersed in this sadness and unable to extricate myself. Only Chala didn't show any sadness. Instead, he said in high spirits, I believe that he will definitely be able to regain his strength and kill Thanos. Because he, like me, was born to be a king. In order to take revenge, he will definitely not stay depressed like this. He will definitely take revenge. That's right. Chala believed in Thor because he is also a king. If you face your loved ones and countless people dying in front of you, if you don't dare to take revenge again, he is not worthy of being a king. So he believed that Thor would be able to stand up. I saw Chala looking at the video with bright eyes, looking forward to Thor's revenge. Asgard. The entire hall fell into silence again. They had already witnessed Twilight of the Gods in previous Hulk videos. They are still thinking. Where was Odin during Ragnarok? Now the video has the answer. That is, when the end is approaching, turning into countless photons and dissipating in the sky. Just when they were about to blame Loki. But it was discovered that in the end, Loki was really dead. I would actually die for this guy. At this time even Loki himself found it unbelievable. Although he doesn't hate Odin and Thor as much as before. But now he is asked to die for Thor, which he absolutely cannot do. So why on earth? What makes you willing to die? Could it be? Have you finally recognized this idiot brother? Bang bang. His heart was beating hard. Seems aware. In the future, my relationship with Thor seems to be much better than now. What I long for has never been the throne, but the equal treatment by Odin. His brother seems to be doing nothing wrong. Yes, then why do I hate this silly guy? Loki looked at Thor in an instant. 1, 2, 3, and even Odin, Frigga and Loki all turned their attention to Thor. They didn't say a word. But their eyes were full of prayer and expectation. They know. If anyone can avenge everyone in Asgard. Then there is only one person. That's Thor. Crash. Thor's eyes were red. Tears flowed uncontrollably. He is the powerful yet gentle god of thunder. Seeing the people I was so close to leave one by one. Even if it's something that happens in the future. Even if he's just watching the video now. but he was still very sad. Wiped away tears, Thor held a hammer in his hand tightly. He gritted his teeth and roared, "I will definitely help you get revenge. Definitely." While everyone was still feeling emotional. Countless people in the universe are looking forward to Thor's revenge. Video continues. Quiet. Boundless. The soft sound of piano sounded. It made countless people's restless hearts immersed in it again. They know that the current calm means that something big will happen next. In video. After Thor was rescued by the Guardians of the Galaxy. Rocket Raccoon and Groot leave with Thor. Then we came to a planet that seemed to have been abandoned for a long time. Nidori. A place dedicated to forging magical weapons. Thor's previous hammer, Mjolnir, was forged here, so they come over it to get powerful weapons. A powerful weapon capable of revenge. Chapter 83. Something's wrong. The whole star went out, and the rings were frozen. Just when Thor saw this scene. He felt very bad. As the spacecraft enters the interior, it also reveals the desolation of this planet. Dark and eerie. There seemed to be no signs of life. See this scene. Countless people also became nervous. They prayed that Thor would get the powerful weapon he wanted. But at this moment. The three of them stopped in one place. Lens pull. People watching the video held their breath. Because on it is the mold of the Infinity Gauntlet in Thanos' hand. Boom. At this moment, the background music suddenly became tense and intense. Only a few dull crashes were heard. A huge figure came into people's eyes, and then they saw Thor and the other three being kicked out by him and falling heavily to the ground. Just when people thought a war was about to begin. Thor called out the giant's name. AI. Tree. Wait. At this time. The giant stopped what he was doing. Thor, the giant, recognized Thor and told him everything that happened here. It turned out that Thanos forced him to make the Infinity Gauntlet, but he still killed all the giant dwarves here, leaving him alone. Here this Thor's determination for revenge became even stronger. The background music also became exciting. Following the drum beats, it started to burn, completely on fire, with the power of a single spark starting a prairie fire. It spread among countless people watching the video. Only seen in the video. Rocket Raccoon gets on the spaceship. And Thor was pulling on the leash. Now they have to do it. Just make this star burn again. Countless people held their breath and stared. Their faces were filled with looks of shock and disbelief. Although they believed in Thor, but can a star be rekindled with just a rope and a spaceship? It's not that I don't believe in Thor. It doesn't feel very feasible to make this star burn again. Yes, can Thor really do it? You don't believe it, but I do. Countless people were nervous. The exciting background music made their skin crawl. Then I saw it. Thor kept swinging the spacecraft. Based on the strong inertia plus the propulsion of the spacecraft. It actually made the star ring rotate. Boom. Countless people were so excited that they danced. They couldn't believe it. Thor really did it. This means that we can really create that peerless weapon. In video. The star ring rotates. The star in the center burns again. Release an extremely powerful ray. With this ray containing the energy of the entire neutron star, special metals can be melted to create a storm axe. However, what countless people didn't expect was that the mechanical devices malfunctioning. The ray suddenly disappeared. Sad. Countless people in the universe let out a sigh. Their excited hearts suddenly became cold. Some people even started to despair again. But some people noticed something was wrong. Why is the background music still so hot? Logically speaking, shouldn't it become desolate at this time? That's right. Some people have now mastered this rule. You can even imagine what music should be used when. As a result, the expectations of countless people were once again filled. Why is music so burning? Is there any way to make up for it? Immediately afterwards then I heard Lin Lan's high-pitched and passionate voice. Thor, the god of thunder, is a god who has lost everything. His determination for revenge is stronger than anyone else's. When he no longer shows off that he is the king of Asgard everywhere, but fights with the glory of Asgard, he will be fearless. Even if he carries the energy of a neutron star. So what? Boom. Countless people felt their blood boiling. Their expectations were lifted to the top. Video continues. When the giant dwarfy tree was fretting about something wrong with the mechanical device. Thor jumped up and headed towards the core of the neutron star. See this scene point. Countless people were shocked in their hearts. They seemed to understand what the author was saying. Point Thor, god of thunder, plans to use himself to activate the device. At the cost of enduring the energy released by the neutron star, which is enough to destroy the world. Oh my god. He wants to activate the device himself. This is undoubtedly going to kill him. This is the real superhero. This is the real king of Asgard. This is the god who truly controls the power of thunder. He has nothing to lose. Now he is truly brave and fearless. Zero ask. 4 flowers hail to the god of thunder. Pay tribute. Countless people's hearts are filled with respect for Thor. They couldn't imagine at point Thor actually wanted to take revenge. Point don't be afraid of death. This also allowed countless people to see the growth of Thor, from being reckless at the beginning, to maturity, to now being brave and fearless along the way. Point as the author said. Point constant loss, constant growth. They prayed in their hearts that Thor must succeed. Boom. Earth-shattering explosions resounded. Point I saw the neutron star burning up again. Point array containing heaven destroying energy was ejected, directly penetrating the body of Thor, god of thunder, and then came to the furnace. Zizzy. The hearts of countless people are trembling. Point it feels as painful as the rays shining on myself. They can see. Point Thor's clothes were burning, and his skin was charred in large chunks. You could even see energy seeping into it and glowing. Point the scene is extremely shocking, shocking the eyes of countless people. Hiss. Chapter 84. Countless people took a breath. Point just watching the video, you can feel how terrifying this energy is. How much pain did Thor himself suffer? It's hard for them to imagine. It's even unimaginable. After a few minutes Thor's whole body was almost blackened. Point can't bear it anymore. Point falling where the razor ejected. Point finally, it landed heavily on the starring point, but let Rocket Raccoon push him. Zero. He couldn't even give any reaction. I miss him. He has run out of energy. See this scene. Point countless people are trembling in their hearts. Sadness flows upstream to my eyes. Point really. Point even God. Point it's hard to bear such terrifying energy. Just when everyone thought Thor might be dying. Point AICUI on the side overturned the mold. Point the prototype of the storm battle axe was revealed. Point he shouted unwillingly, only an axe can save him. Find me an axe handle. Just when AICUI was anxiously looking for the axe handle. Point Groot, who was sitting on the ground playing video games, stood up. Point in the doubtful eyes of countless people. Point Groot injured the high temperature, stretched out branches from his right hand, spliced the storm tomahawk mold together, and cut off his right hand without hesitation to form a complete storm tomahawk. Zilla, Zilla. At this time. Point the hearts of countless people beat with the sound of lightning. Point in their shocked and expectant eyes I saw lightning arcs wrapping around Thor's hands. Groot, my hero. He's not dead. He's not dead. I knew it. The real Thor is coming. Thanos, are you ready? Countless people were extremely excited. They are looking forward to the true power of Thor. At this time. Point the background music becomes extremely exciting and fast. The scene comes to the battlefield of Wakanda. In a skirt, countless heroes who appeared in the video were entangled by the monsters, but at this moment. Point boom. Thunder is rolling in the sky. Under the expectant eyes of countless people looking from the sky, I saw lightning arcs lighting up one place after another. Every time it was illuminated, the monsters in one place were wiped out. In video. Point Banner, the King of Wakanda, the Black Panther, and the Scarlet Witch, who were driving the Hulkbuster mecha, all raised their heads and looked at the sky. Boom. I saw a colorful beam of light falling from the sky. The terrifying energy that burst out destroyed all the surrounding monsters, and the terrifying shockwave swept away in all directions. Countless people on the battlefield stopped what they were doing. Point follow the storm battle axe entwined with lightning arcs, and look here. Point only 3 figures were seen walking out. Point when people see clearly who the figure in the middle is, there is an exciting sound in the background. Burn. Super burning. The heroes in the video, as well as the people watching the video, were all excited, and the feeling of pleasure rushed directly to their foreheads, making people's skin crawl. Ha ha ha. You are finished this time. Banner shouted happily in the video. Point and that's exactly what people watching the video are saying. Thanos, you're fucked. They know that what awaits Thanos next will be the wrath of the real god of thunder. Then in the expectant eyes of countless people, I saw Thor releasing the power of thunder in his body in one breath. Like a master, his roar resounded throughout the world, and he ran forward. Thanos, get out of here. Factory 65. Thanos' head fell to the ground, and Thor became a big fat man. This is the god of thunder. This is the true wrath of the god of thunder. Thor is now invincible. He will definitely be able to defeat Thanos. That's right. With the Storm Axe, Thor's power must have increased by several levels. Countless people are looking forward to it. When Thor shouted those words, they also roared. I've watched so many videos. Their hatred for Thanos is also growing day by day. So their expectations were heightened, and they were looking forward to seeing Thor killing Thanos. Boom. The video continues. Thunder rolled in the sky. Countless dazzling lightning arcs burst out from Thor's body. The scene was extremely shocking. Coupled with the high burning background music, it brought a strong visual impact to countless people. They really felt that Thor's power was countless times stronger than before. Boom. Earth-shattering explosions resounded through the sky, and Thor, the god of thunder, was seen holding the Storm Axe. With an invincible posture, he released the power of thunder in his body in one breath, spreading with him as the center. All monsters that touched the thunder and lightning were instantly destroyed, turned into ashes. The momentum caused was extremely shocking. The shock waves that exploded were layer upon layer, boiling and boiling like a tsunami, attacking in all directions, and even setting off a wave of sand and dust that covered the sky and the sun, which is enough to prove how powerful the thunder god is. See this scene. The hearts of countless people are beating non-stop to the high burning music. Goosebumps stood up all over my body. Not even Thanos can withstand such destructive power. Lin Lan's words also rang out at this time. Proving their point. Thor, the god of thunder, armed with the Storm Axe, descends on the battlefield in an invincible manner and sweeps away thousands of armies. His power awes his enemies. His destructive power makes them despair. 580. Even Thanos can't resist. When Lin Lan's voice sounded. The background music sounded even more exciting. In video. The screen cuts to a scene where Thanos has just obtained 6 gems. At this time, there was a loud bang. A bolt of lightning mixed with reeking destruction pierced the sky, as if the entire space was shaking with ripples, and it flew in front of Thanos in a flash of lightning. It immediately bombarded him, suppressing him on the ground, and sliding for more than 10 meters. Before stopping, Thanos quickly stood up. He now has 6 infinity stones. How can you be afraid? As a result, the endless energy in his body surged out, and an extremely terrifying ray suddenly shot out from the infinity gauntlet and headed towards the sky. In the expectant eyes of countless people, all I saw was the sky. Thor, the god of thunder, throws the Storm Axe in his hand. Suddenly, the Storm Axe and rays entangled with countless lightning collided together. See this scene. Countless people held their breath, not daring to take a breath. Keep your eyes glued to the screen. They want to know who won the showdown between Thor and Thanos. Boom. Chapter 85. With a loud bang, the Storm Axe rushed towards Thanos with irresistible force and slashed hard on Thanos' chest. A huge gap was immediately cut, and a dazzling light burst out. Boom, boom, boom. The entire universe of people watching the video saw this. My heart felt like a huge wave had set off, and I couldn't calm down for a long time. Their faces were full of excitement and shock. It's exactly what the author said. Even Thanos can't resist the power of Thor. This is the real Thor. Okay, this is the real god of thunder. So what if you have infinite gems? I'll still kill you. That's right. I'll chop you down the same way. Just wait for death. Wait, why can Thor defeat Thanos, but those heroes are still dead? Holy crap. Thor didn't kill with one hit, and he didn't take off the infinity gauntlet either. Yes, why? Thor was able to defeat Thanos, but Thanos still succeeded. Just when countless people are puzzled. When some people type their answers on the public screen. Suddenly it caused an uproar in the entire universe. Everyone's hearts immediately sank. Even sad. Obviously Thor, the god of thunder, has worked hard enough. He has watched countless people die in front of him, and he has resolutely resisted the neutron star. As a result, he has the ability to stop it all. If he has not stopped it, then how desperate he must be. They seem to have seen the more desperate side of Thor. Really point just as they thought point and video point Thor came to Thanos grabbing his huge head with your left hand point the right hand is pressed on the Stormax point anger and hatred filled his heart. I told you, you will pay with your life for this, said point Thor. Pressed the Stormax hard, making Thanos' wound more painful and even blood oozing out point. But what Thor didn't expect was this. Thanos responded, you should chop my head off, snapped. When Thanos said so point he raised his left hand slightly and snapped his fingers hard. Suddenly the screen switched from scene to scene point countless people were reduced to ashes and Thor, God of Thunder, looked at the infinity gauntlet that seemed to be burnt and seemed at a loss what to do and roared with great anger. What did you do? What did you do? But Thanos didn't respond point harness the power of the space stone. Lin Lan, 703,216,220 disappeared in place point Thor, the God of Thunder, was left with a look of guilt and self-blame. See this scene point sad music plays at this time point it seemed like that familiar piano sound in space again point every time it sounds. It seems to touch people's heartstrings, followed by sadness, despair, self-blame, and guilt. That spaceship carries all the hopes of Asgard point, but it was shattered by Thanos, and when Thor, the God of Thunder, overcame all obstacles, and finally stood in front of Thanos, he was unable to stop it all, because of his own mistakes in decision making. His head should be chopped off. Why do you still talk so much nonsense? Yes. Why? We were almost ready to stop him. Only you can stop it, but you missed this opportunity. Even though there are many people who sympathize with Thor, but more people are blaming him point blame him for not stopping this. At this time point Lin Lan's voice sounded with emotion. With the power of Thor against 6 gems, he did it. He proved to his father that he is no longer the reckless guy he once was, but a king who fights hard and takes revenge with the expectations of countless people. It's just because of a mistake that I couldn't stop this, but if he doesn't come forward, things will still happen. Despite this, Thor, the God of Thunder, still blamed himself for all the faults, and thus fell. When Lin Lan finished speaking point countless people who were accusing Thor also choked up point yes, if Thor doesn't stand up point so who else can resist Thanos? Even Scarlet Witch and Vision couldn't resist point who on the entire planet can stop Thanos from snapping his fingers. So Thor didn't succeed. Who is qualified to blame him? But what people didn't expect was even more point. Even though countless people died in front of Thor, he did not fall point but this time, he fell because of guilt. Sad, heartbroken point Thor keeps losing and growing point let people see that he is indeed a powerful and gentle god. Thor, God of Thunder, has lost everything. Why should he have to bear all this? That's right. I believe Thor will be able to get back on his feet. That's right. The real Thor will definitely get back on his feet. Thor, God of Thunder, will definitely be able to find Thanos and kill him. So I believe it is impossible for him to fall. That's right. This author must be lying. The God of Thunder will never fall. Encouraging comments from across the universe appeared on the video one after another. They didn't believe Thor could fall point and Asgard point at this time. Thor heard the author's words. He also held the hammer in his hand tightly point roared extremely angrily. Thanos, I must kill you. There is absolutely no way I will fall like this. That's right point even if the author says so point most people in the universe believe that Thor will never fall like this. Video continues soft music plays even a little comfortable point filling the expectations of countless people point and the screen point countless gorgeous flowers bloomed all over the mountain point until the camera zooms in point a small wooden house came into view point and there was a figure sitting there point wow. When people see who this person is there was an uproar immediately point it's Thanos after snapping his fingers, but some people who observed carefully discovered it point Thanos' infinity gauntlet is already scorched black, but the gems are missing. At this time point the figure of the God of Thunder caught people's eyes. He asked Thanos where the gems were point the result was something that countless people didn't expect point Thanos destroyed the gem. What does this mean? It means that Thor's last hope has been shattered. Click. Chapter 86. At this time point the background music suddenly rushes zero. It caught countless people off guard point I saw Thor swinging the Stormax in his hand and neatly chopped off Thanos' head. Boom. The pupils of countless people dilated rapidly. I didn't expect Thanos to die like this, but they can see it. This time, Thor really went for Thanos' head. The last glimmer of hope was shattered, and there were no more gems, so they went back to the past to collect all the gems. Yes, now I finally know why they want to go back to the past, but how desperate is the Thor at this moment? This time he went specifically for his head. It can be seen that he is still brooding and extremely guilty. Countless people sighed. When Thor cut off Thanos' head so cleanly. They just know. Thor's heart has never been able to let go. But after watching this scene, are you telling me that Thor has fallen? Good guy. You've obviously grown up. Okay. With such a clean and sharp axe, you tell me that Thor has fallen? You are kidding. That's right. There's no such thing as depravity. I dare to believe that when all the gems are collected, the power of the god of thunder will come again. Although the mystery of collecting all the gems has been solved, how did the subsequent Thanos come about? Hiss. You mentioned a key point, but the follow-up video should give an explanation. Countless people don't believe that Thor fell. Looking forward to collecting gems with him and other heroes resurrect those who were once dead. But questions have also been raised. Obviously Thanos died at the hands of Thor, so where did Thanos come from in the subsequent battlefield? They do not know. But at this moment, the sense of anticipation is filled again. Video continues. Crash. The sound of rolling and boiling waves was heard. Make people feel calm and comfortable. Again. Only seen in the screen. Rocket Raccoon and the Hulk came to a small house on the beach together. As soon as I entered the door, I started to complain. What are you doing? It smells rancid in here. Is anyone there? Thor. When the raccoon calls out the name. People got it. This is what should happen next. Thor should have settled on Earth. And he had nowhere else to go. You here to fix the TV? The TV stopped working 2 weeks ago. At this time. Thor's voice sounded. In the expectant eyes of countless people. The scene changes. A shirtless fat man caught everyone's eyes. Everyone. Silly. Everyone is stupid. Before, they said the author was talking nonsense. Thor cannot fall. Now show me the scene. Good guy. This is so fat. It seems that there is no shortage of food. Holy shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. This is Thor 1.3. Is it the macho Thor who controls the power of thunder and is brave and invincible? Dear me, the image of the god of thunder in my heart is completely ruined. The god of thunder actually degenerated into a fat man. Who the hell would have thought of this? Shocked me for 10,000 years. Thor, you are so depraved. You. God of thunder, eat less. I was still craving for your body before, but now, there was a sigh of relief in the universe. They never expected it. Thor actually fell. He also degenerated into a fat man. Only seen in the video. Thor plopped down on the chair with his beer. That big white belly makes countless people feel sad and helpless. At this time. 1 second special. Thor was still sitting in his chair, but he wore sunglasses and got dressed. Compared to the depraved look just now. A little bit better. Then he saw other particles appearing on the screen, so he stepped forward and said, where to start? First of all, the other particles are not gems. Her name is Jane. She used to be my girlfriend. The other particles were in her body, and I introduced her to my mother. When it comes to mom. Thor was visibly choked up. Then sadly told the truth. She's dead. See? This scene. Everyone understood. Before collecting gems they must be discussing where to go and when to collect gems and want to collect other particles. It is clear right at the beginning of the video. As a result, countless people's expectations were filled. Although Thor fell. But they wanted to know. What will happen when they go back to the past. 66. Goodbye mother made me cry. Choose 2 out of 3 rewards. How is it possible? How is it possible? At this time. On a huge spaceship. Thanos' pupils dilated dramatically. He didn't expect to get 6 gems. He was even hit by Thor, the god of thunder. Even in the end, his head fell to the ground. This is humiliation and blasphemy. Congratulations on achieving your goal. Half of the population in the universe has been wiped out, and the gems have been destroyed. They can no longer go against heaven. Just When Thanos was shocked and angry. Ebony Throat said quickly when he saw the situation. And his words also awakened Thanos. Yes, I have succeeded. And the gem was destroyed. Death was nothing to him at that time. But when he saw Thor explaining other particles, suddenly I thought of something that appeared in the previous video. The Hulk travels back in time to collect the time stone. Could it be that Thor is like this, traveling back in time to collect other particles, the reality stones? Exclamation mark. Chapter 87. Thanos clenched his fist tightly. His heart was high. The sense of anticipation was heightened. He also wanted to know what happened next. Why did he die but reappear later? Asgard. Click. When they saw Thor chop off Thanos' head with an axe. The gods above the hall burst into revelry, even if they knew the gem had been destroyed. But seeing Thanos die, they felt that their great revenge had been avenged. Really, in the entire Asgard, only Thor can take revenge. Well done. Even though we failed earlier, we still killed this guy in the end. That's it. Thor, you don't have to blame yourself. This guy's dead. I feel so happy. Wait, this is Thor. Just when everyone cheered. Thor's fat body caught everyone's attention. Silence. All the gods in Asgard shut their mouths. Even Odin and Frigga above didn't expect it at all. Thor, the god of thunder, fell into this state because of self-blame. They are different from other melon-eating people in the universe. None of the Asgardian gods laughed at him. 09. Because they know that in the future Thor has experienced too much suffering, and this fall has revealed his inner sadness and self-blame. So why would they laugh at the new king of Asgard? At this time they saw it on video. Thor is explaining about ether particles and mentions Jane. They all thought of their discussion before. These heroes are supposed to travel back in time to collect gems. I immediately thought of it. Thor should also return to Asgard to retrieve the other particles. They are expecting. They are praying. Even Thor himself tensed. Because they all want to know if Thor can see Frigga again when he goes back in time. They can't forget the scene of Frigga dying to save Jane, and this scene is exactly what everyone in the universe is looking forward to. Video continues when Thor said that his mother was dead. The scene changes. The magnificent and majestic buildings of Asgard once again appeared in the eyes of countless people. They are all missed. This was once the glory of Asgard. Camera transition. In the dungeon. Loki was lying on his bed, bored. And everyone saw this scene. Tears burst out from his eyes. Although this god of tricks likes to play some tricks, but in the end, no one expected to die for his brother. Video continues. The camera looks from inside Loki's cell to the outside. I saw a fat figure and a small figure quietly running past Loki's cell. Rocket Raccoon and Thor are then seen discussing how to extract the reality stone. Let's do this, fatty, you seduce her, and then I'll give her a sudden blow, and after I pull out the reality stone, we'll run away. Just when Rocket Raccoon said this, the god of thunder was still drunk. His current mind is not on the other particles at all. Instead, he drunkenly said, I'll go back as soon as I go. The wine cellar is down there. My father stored a large barrel of wine there. I'll see if I can get a few drinks. Thor, the god of thunder, walked over there as he spoke. But that's it. Suddenly it seemed like someone was coming this way. Thor and Rocket Raccoon were seen hiding at the same time. And the latter also asked, who is that fashionable aunt? That's my mother. She will be killed today. Talking and talking. Thor became sad. It even feels difficult to breathe. Trying his best to control his tears, and people who were watching the video also felt sad. They know. Thor is powerful yet gentle. Has an emotional side. That's why he couldn't control his sadness when he saw his mother. But that's it. Snapped. Rocket Raccoon slapped him. Let him wake up. Do you think you are the only one who has lost a loved one? I know you miss your mother, but she is gone, and other people can be saved. So I need your help. Cheer up quickly and go and talk to that person. Chat up a chick and take out the reality stone. You'll be fine. Rocket Raccoon encourages Thor. Just when they were getting ready to leave. Countless people saw Thor escape, leaving only the raccoon to retrieve the reality stone, and Thor came behind a pillar quietly looking at the queen, Frigga, who was explaining matters to her maid not far away. See this scene. The background Music becomes sad at this time. The hearts of countless people are also blocked. Thor knew that his mother would die today, but as Ancient One said long ago, changing the timeline would have many unexpected consequences, so Thor watched quietly. Just watch quietly. Sudden, a gentle voice sounded, "What are you doing here?" Only seen in the video. Thor stood behind the pillar, just when I was about to take a look at my mother again. But he found that his mother had already come to his side and patted him on the shoulder. Shocked, Thor was startled. Then he covered his face with his clothes. Joke. Now I look like a fallen person. How can I let my mother see? Let your brother handle the sneaky stuff. Frigga teased. He kept walking towards Thor, who was trying to escape. People who were watching the video felt warm in their hearts when they saw this scene. Unexpectedly, Queen Frigga discovered Thor mother and son finally met again. "I'm not sneaking around, I'm just taking a walk," Thor argued. Chapter 88. But how could Frigga believe his lies? But her focus was entirely on Thor's eyes and what she could see through the surface. "What's wrong with your eyes, Frigga?" asked distressedly, and touched the Thor's face with her warm hand. See this scene. Everyone seemed to have seen the distressed scene of their mother wrestling when she was a child. I feel full of maternal love. My heart is also warm. In the video, Thor was quibbling, saying that he was cut during the battle. But what Frigga said next made countless people cry. "You're not the Thor I know, are you?" "I am. You must have suffered a lot in the future." "I didn't say I came from the future. I was raised by witches, and I see more than meets the eye, you know." The background music is warm, though full of maternal love. But more people were moved to tears by this sentence. Sad and tearful. Frigga actually knows everything, because this is her child. After suffering so much, she was the only one who felt the most distressed and sad. "Yes, I really am from the future. I really want to talk to you." When Thor said these words tremblingly. Countless people couldn't control their tears. After so long. Thor finally saw his mother again. All these years he gritted his teeth and persisted. Does anyone understand the pain he went through? Who can make him express his inner pain? No, but this time. Having a mother in front of his mother, Thor can be like a little child, crying as much as he wants and telling his mother how painful he has been in these years. Embrace. Thor hugged his mother tightly, refusing to let go. The scene changes. The time has come for separation. Although people don't know what they said in the middle. But they knew that Thor must have told Frigga about his experiences over the years and revealed the deepest pain in his heart. You can see it in Thor's smile. At this moment, he is happy and contented. Thunder God Thor in front of his mother. He is just a child after all. Yes, after going through so much suffering, my mother could tell it at a glance. My defense was broken by those words, and my tears flowed down uncontrollably. My mother is so gentle. Thor must have expressed all the pain in his heart. That's right. Now that the raccoon has the gem, it's time for them to leave. Bless Queen Frigga. I really hope she won't die. From now on, Thor should cheer up again. Bless Frigga in the hearts of countless people. And think Rocket Raccoon and Thor are about to leave here. Did not expect. Thor suddenly stopped the raccoon. Countless people have questions in their minds. Why stop? Does Thor not want to go back? At this time. Thor stretched out his left hand. It makes people even more confused. Even in the video. Rocket Raccoon and Frigga were also puzzled. Novel group 7,026,220. But at this moment. In the video, a video flashed out, translucently interspersed like Thor's memories. It's Odin. I saw Odin depriving Thor of his armor, expelling him from Asgard, holding Mjolnir in his hand and whispering, "Whoever can hold this hammer will be worthy of the title and gain the power of the god of thunder." Finished. Mjolnir was also expelled from Asgard along with Thor. Another special show. It's a rainy night. Thor's figure came into view, and he came to the hollow in the middle. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't lift the hammer. When I saw this scene. Countless people seemed to understand something. Holy crap. This should be what happened before the beginning. I didn't expect Thor to experience this. This author's cut is so horrific. It's not placed at the beginning, but placed here. Suddenly I understood why Thor reached out. He must want to know if he is still worthy of Thor's hammer now. Right. Yes. Yes. It must be like this. Very good point. Very nice point. This video is edited very well. Not only did it solve everyone's doubts, but it also aroused their sense of expectation. That is Thor, who has now become a fat man. Is he still worthy of Thor's hammer? Just when countless people were filled with anticipation and their eyes were glued to the screen, point buzz. The whole space made a crisp buzzing sound. Then in the excited eyes of everyone, Mjolnir suddenly appeared and was held tightly by the god of thunder. Haha, I still deserve this. See this scene. Point countless people raised their arms and shouted, even if he becomes fat. Point Thor is still Thor 580, worthy of this Thor's hammer. Immediately afterwards, the moment Thor and Frigga said goodbye. Point the background music is on fire. It seemed like a war song, resounding throughout the entire universe. Boom. Countless lightning winds. The camera zoomed in. Point Thor has the hammer of Thor in one hand and the storm axe in the other. The whole body is wrapped with the terrifying power of thunder. Rush towards Thanos. Brush. The picture is frozen in this scene. The lightning arc is extremely dazzling, just as dazzling as the last time it came to the battlefield. As the ending song played, point countless people sighed in dismay. Point it stopped abruptly at this place again. The same goes for Black Panther and Spider-Man last time. Although they don't know where this Thanos came from, point, but they know that those heroes have gathered here one by one to fight against their old enemy Thanos. As for whether it can succeed, point they want to know too. Thor is really constantly losing in his life, but he is also constantly growing. This video is also interspersed with laughs, at least compared to WandaVision. It is a little more relaxed. Yeah, if there weren't these laughs, to be honest, I would cry even more than when I watched the last video. At least we finally know that Thor got back on his feet after falling. I believe he will be able to defeat Thanos. Yes, I believe it too. He will definitely be able to truly defeat his old enemy. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 89. Countless people say that they are not so sad even if they are funny. Point, but one after another secretly shed tears again. Point, after all, I have wonderful memories. When sadness strikes, it becomes even more tear-jerking. Many questions have now been answered. Point, but there was something else they wanted to know. Point, for example, where did the other gems come from? For example, where did Thanos come from? The sense of anticipation is once again full at this moment. The more this moment comes, the more they want to know. But at this moment, point, the voice of the dimensional platform rang. Thor, God of Thunder, please accept the reward. You can choose two from the three options below. To do this, you need to reward the author with an item. When the voice fell, point, the face of Thor appeared in the dimensional platform. Point, and they also saw the rewards on the dimensional platform. Option 1. Thunder Fruit. After eating it, it can make physical attacks and most energy attacks ineffective against itself, and can use the fruit to teleport. It has terrifying destructive power, and the maximum voltage it can release can reach 200 million volts. It also has electrotherapy ability. You can use electric current to massage your own heart and restore the injured heart to beat. Option 2. Pikachu. Electric Pokemon, able to use super powerful lightning attacks, is a reliable partner. Option 3. Choose from the remaining rewards of the previous superheroes. When people see rewards, they all couldn't sit still. PS. After reading the comments, the author will be careful not to steal other people's things and use them as rewards. 67. Good guys. Is this a customized reward? Poor Loki who got stunned. Xander prison. Point, at this time, Rocket Raccoon was extremely moved. Point, although I don't forget to mock Star-Lord from time to time. Point, but in his heart, he was very sad until the end of the video. It turns out that their spaceship appeared and rescued Thor, and I have experienced so much with Thor, fighting against a neutron star, fighting for Wakanda, and traveling into the past to retrieve the reality stone. All of this moved Rocket Raccoon to tears. I didn't expect this muscular man to have such a childish side, but he is indeed a superhero. I'm Groot. I think so too. Groot on the side praised. This makes Star-Lord even more embarrassed. He coughed and said, he is indeed a superhero, maybe just a little better than me. You should lose weight first. Not to mention that after the dimension platform distributes rewards, he may be much stronger than you. Just when Star-Lord was hiding his embarrassment, Gamora on the side pierced his disguise point, and hear her words. Everyone looked up, and when they saw the reward, they took a deep breath. I'm afraid he's going to be more than a little better than you. At this time Asgard when the video ends, but their hearts are always beating loudly, filled with the joy of fulfilled wishes. At the end Thor finally meets Queen Frigga and as soon as they met, they were recognized as coming from the future. Then he revealed a side of him that he had never shown before, crying like a child in his mother's arms. When the scene switches to Thor holding Thor's hammer and Stormax, their emotions are even higher. They know that even though the video is over, the battle is not over yet. They firmly believe that if Thor can kill Thanos, he can kill him a second time. Thor will definitely bring the glory of us Asgardians and let Thanos die for the second time. That's right, Thor. But the son of Odin, the new king of Asgard. Wait a minute. Look, our new king has been rewarded. Just as the Asgardians raised their weapons and shouted, Odin, Frigga, Thor and Loki all turned their attention to the dimensional platform again. Only 3 options appeared above. When people see options, there was a look of extreme shock on his face. This is what everyone in the universe sees, although the reward options have changed to 2 out of 3. But when everyone saw what the reward was, it seemed like lemons were popping out of their eyes, because the first 2 options are too scary. Let's talk about option 1 first. Thunder Fruit. The eater can render physical attacks and most energy attacks ineffective on itself. What concept? You can't hurt me, but I can hurt you. This function alone is enough to make countless people jealous. It's just that they didn't expect that this one was relatively weak among the Thunder Fruit's abilities, because when they saw that they could use the fruit to teleport, tears flowed from the corners of my mouth. Acid, so sour. Who in the entire universe doesn't want to use teleportation skills? Even Thor himself relies on Mjolnir to fly quickly. If you can teleport, not only can the travel time be greatly shortened, but also in the battle with the enemy, it can be unexpected and fatal with one move. When they look behind. When seeing the introduction of destructive power, there was a huge wave in my heart, and I couldn't calm down for a long time. Not only can it reach up to 200 million volts, but there are many skills that can be learned. You must know that the lightning summoned by the god of thunder is basically between 1 million volts and 100 million volts. 200 million volts completely doubled its combat effectiveness. And the most important thing is, you don't need Thor's hammer. This is naturally very suitable for Thor, who has not yet fully controlled the power of thunder. Oh my god, this thunder fruit feels so invincible. Not only does it have defense, it also has speed, and it also has attack. Isn't this guy omnipotent? Damn. It's really all powerful. If Thor doesn't choose this, I will definitely be angry to death. Hey. Although this reward is very powerful, the second reward has never been like this before. The dimensional platform is so awesome. Holy crap. I really want to be on the list. I want all these rewards. At this time, countless people are sighing at the first reward point, and when they saw the second reward point, he was so envious that his whole body trembled. Pikachu. Although they don't know what Pokemon is, but they know that this thing must be similar to a pet, a fighting beast or something like that. You must know that the dimensional platform has never rewarded living creatures. This reward has touched the heartstrings of countless people. Let me ask, who can resist a fighting beast that accompanies you to fight together? And the most important thing is that it also has thunder attributes. Good guy. Both rewards are related to thunder attributes. Isn't this a customized reward for Thor? Holy crap. Although it's a choice of 2 out of 3 for Thor, does this still have to be a choice? Everyone is dumbfounded. The first 2 options are both thunder attributes. This damn thing is customized for the god of thunder. I'm so tired. The thunder fruit is powerful enough. I didn't expect there to be a fighting beast. I think it would match well with the god of thunder. This is customized for Thor. Now he can't concentrate the power of thunder, but after using the thunder fruit, his combat power must have soared. And Pikachu, I think it must be used to accompany Thor. After all, Thor in the video, he is to it so miserable. Hiss. The more you say that, the more I think it's customized. I thought the dimensional platform favored Wanda before, but I didn't expect that Thor is his biological son. As soon as you talk about your biological son, I won't have to mention Loki taking advantage. Anyway, let's see how Thor chooses. Maybe he wants to choose a reward that others don't choose. The discussion continues. Let them be envious as much as they want. Chapter 90. The final choice lies in the hands of Thor. It's finally my turn. At this moment Thor, god of thunder, has piercing eyes from the beginning of the first video. He told Odin and everyone countless times I will definitely be on the list. And now he is indeed on the list. But he couldn't be happy. No matter what he watched helplessly as the people he valued died in front of him one after another, and he failed by not beheading him later. Who can be happy? On the contrary, the responsibility he now shoulders even heavier. That's right. He wants to gain more power. Power enough to change everything. And when he saw the reward option, the corners of his mouth finally curved. The first two options can be said to be specially customized for him. One that gave him extremely terrifying thunder power, and the other one can accompany him through loneliness, even accompanying him to fight together. As for option 3, choose from the remaining rewards from other heroes. Don't tell me. Yet Thor seemed to have grown up overnight. After watching the video, I'm actually still weighing the pros and cons and learning to think. If it were in the past, I would definitely ask for the first two without saying anything. Now he is recalling what rewards the previous heroes have left. Infinite life. No need to completely useless for saving Asgard. Taijutsu, 6th form of the Navy. No, it's not necessary either. He doesn't need physical skills now. Shocking fruit. It seems that choosing the thunder fruit is enough. After weighing the pros and cons, the god of thunder said without hesitation, I choose 1 and 2. When Thor chooses these two options, wow. Countless people in the universe are filled with expectations, although they are envious and jealous, but it doesn't stop them from watching the reward release scene. After all items are subject to the actual product. Even though the description is awesome, they still want to see what the actual evaluation is like. Ding. Congratulations to Thor for getting the reward. It is being distributed. At this time the voice of the dimensional platform sounded in the expectant eyes of countless people above the main hall. 2 rays of light lit up at the same time. At this time, Odin also used his powerful power to try to detect the dimensional platform and find out the secrets, but failed. He had been waiting for this moment for a long time. I didn't expect that. I really had no idea where to start. I saw light shining on Thor's body. Then there is a blue fruit and a red and white bull-like thing appeared in the hands of Thor, the god of thunder. Is this the thunder fruit and Pikachu? Thor was very curious, and the countless people watching this scene are also very curious. Are these two gadgets really as powerful as described? I saw that Thor did not hesitate. He put the blue fruit into his mouth and took a big bite. What he needs now is strength. It is the power that can protect Asgard. Whether it's Thanos, Malekith, or his sister and the fire giant, he will kill them all with his own hands. Zizzy. The moment Thor nodded down, his eyes lit up with 2 blue arcs of electricity, and the numbing lightning arcs wrapped around his whole body, centering on him and spreading to all sides. Boom. The sky is clouded over thunder and lightning, and the lightning on Thor's body is even more dazzling. The pressure released made countless people tremble, and even the ground under his feet was destroyed by lightning to create a huge pit, and it went in all directions like cracks in a spider web. Is this the thunder fruit? So powerful. Thor's eyes lit up. He could feel the power of thunder in his body, which was countless times more terrifying than before. So he concentrated his power on his right foot, and then released it in one breath. His entire body became elemental, as if it turned into a bolt of lightning that cut through the sky, so fast that people couldn't catch him at all. Above the sky, the lightning was even more chaotic. The momentum created can only be described as amazing. Novel group 703,216,220 hiss. Is this the thunder fruit? It's so powerful. Hahaha. God bless me Asgard. Thor has become an even more terrifying god of thunder. Control the power of thunder. No one can withstand his wrath. The faces of the people in Asgard showed expressions of excitement. And the people in the universe who are watching the video are also shocked beyond words. The ability of this thunder fruit really shocked them. I even wonder if Black Panther's other award, the shock fruit, also has such terrifying power. They do not know. I can't even imagine. Now I just want to know, how about another award from Thor? At this time Thor is suspended in the air. The whole body is wrapped with thunder and lightning. After he roared, he threw the elf ball in his hand, and it instantly landed on the main hall. Tell me, what kind of existence is Pikachu? I guess it must be like a thunder dragon that is worthy of the real god of thunder. I don't think so. I'm pretty sure it's a humanoid. That's right. I think Pikachu must be as huge a creature as the giants. Together with Thor, he is invincible. Countless people are discussing what Pikachu looks like. Their curiosity and anticipation are aroused. Even the people in Asgard held their breath for fear of disturbing Pikachu in the Pokeball. At this time the Pokeball moved. Countless people's nerves were tense at this moment. Swallowing hard. But at this moment along with countless lightning arcs and rays of light burst out. Countless people's eyes were fixed on the figure in the light. However, when Pikachu's petite, yellow, and cute figure caught everyone's eyes, countless people were stagnant in place. Holy shit, it's so cute. I thought it was a giant pet. What? I've been looking forward to it for a long time, and it turned out to be such a cute pet. I feel cheated. Countless people sighed in disappointment. And above the main hall. Everyone in Asgard also sighed. Not to mention how majestic Odin's Mount and Hela's Mount are. Even the monsters Asgard killed during the battle looked more powerful than Pikachu. Is this little guy really as strong as the description says? Hahaha. It is such a cute pet. It can soothe your wounded heart, my good brother. Chapter 91. Loki mocked unabashedly. At this time I was very disappointed with Thor's choice. This Pikachu doesn't look great. It feels like it's just for showcasing cuteness and everyone thinks so. But at this moment this little yellow figure walked up to Loki and shouted in a very angry voice, "Pikachu, Zizzy." When Pikachu finished speaking a terrifying bolt of lightning was released from its body and struck Loki instantly. The powerful power of thunder and lightning enveloped him, and his whole body was scorched black, directly stunning Loki. Hiss. See this scene. Countless people took a breath of cold air. It seems as if this lightning is striking on my body. They all took a step back. Damn it. This little guy can't be judged by his appearance. I'm so stupid. A guy who looks so cute can knock out Loki in one go. Hiss. It seems that Thor's choice is really right. People watching the video said in shock. And when Thor saw that his partner had such great power also laughed. Very good. The partner I chose is indeed very powerful. Hahaha. It seems that my choice is always so wise. Pikachu, start fighting with me from today. Pikachu, Pikachu responded cheerfully. And everyone in Asgard saw this scene. They all swallowed their saliva. By the way, I glanced at Loki who was lying on the ground. Don't judge people by their appearance. Not even pets. However, just when everyone was shocked by Pikachu's strength. Suddenly the sound of the dimensional platform rang. Ding. Congratulations to Thor for his choice, which triggered the hidden video. This word touches the heartstrings of countless people like magic. People were very happy. Good guy. Sure enough, there is a hidden video this time too. The expectations of countless people were once again filled. They want to know what the hidden video is this time. Thanks to Reader Dad 17817 for the 2000 reward and Reader Dad Tanley fighting God for the 1000 reward. 68. Loki took the cube. Was Captain America an undercover agent? The blonde girl actually gained such a powerful power. Hiss. And this little yellow guy is actually so strong. At this moment Wakanda. Tony Stark exclaimed. Even if he is arrogant. But when seeing such terrifying power I can't help but praise from the bottom of my heart. I have even given up on the naive idea that I can be on the list. People who are on the list so far, either he has superpowers, or he has terrifying magic point, and he only has armor and a smart brain point. How does this compare? Chala on the side also shouted regret. He had previously thought that the power of the Zensin fruit was not as powerful as described point, but when he saw the true power of Thor using the thunder fruit point, he regretted it. Point very regretful. The thunder fruit is so powerful, and the shock fruit will definitely not be any worse. I suddenly regretted it. If I were strong enough, I wouldn't need my soldiers to go to the battlefield at all. That's right. Point when his strength is strong enough. Point one man is a barrier and 10,000 men are not allowed to open it. But there is no regret medicine in this world. And after hearing Chala's words, Wanda didn't think it mattered. Point said softly, since this hammer god has gained such powerful power, if we let him join us, Thanos will never be able to collect 6 gems. That's right. Point now these heroes on the list have obtained terrifying props or powers. It will definitely change the future. Point, but Thanos now has nothing and has also lost the spiritual scepter, so now they are very confident. But Captain America on the side added, but have you ever thought about what we should do if there is another ranking after this ranking ends and Thanos also gets a reward? Facing it together. This is exactly what you always say, Tony Stark said while eating snacks. He and Captain America are already friends. When everyone heard this, they also nodded. Point isn't it that they are reunited to face disasters together and protect the earth? At this time, Point Banner, who watched the video attentively, exclaimed, there are actually hidden videos. Everyone was puzzled. Point they want to know what other hidden videos. Is it about the future battlefield or about something else? They really want to know. At this time, Point when the dimensional platform said so. Point the expectations of countless people were filled. Point they were very curious, what will this hidden video explain? Now there were only 2 things they wanted to know. Point first, how the other 4 gems are collected. Exclamation point 580. After all, they now know how the time stone and reality stone are collected. Point the other gems are unknown. Point second, how Thanos came back from the dead and whether he won in the end. Full of curiosity. Point countless people are staring at the dimensional platform. Point all I saw was a black screen. Point the screen reappeared. Point Stark Industries building. Point the third time caught people's eyes. It's hard not to think of that weak god. Hey, are you going to whip the corpse again? Probably not. If we whip the corpse again, little Loki will be too pitiful. In the picture just now, he was stunned by Pikachu. PFFT. Indeed, Loki is indeed too pitiful. It's pitiful, but I really can't help but want to see that classic scene. Hahaha. Novel. Exchange group. 703,216,220. Just when countless people sympathized with Loki. Point there are also people who want to witness that classic scene again. Point, but they were disappointed. Point did not appear. Chapter 92. But Loki actually appeared in the picture. Point exactly the same as what appeared in Wanda's video. Point after the defeat, he was handcuffed. Point only this time, the video did not end abruptly like before, but continued. I will direct the search and rescue operations. At this time, Point, even though Loki had his hands cuffed, he still used illusions to become Captain America. Point, and also repeats Captain America's words. This can't help but make countless people wonder, how much does this guy like to become Captain America? And in the video, Point Thor, the god of thunder, was equally helpless, very helpless. An instrument was taken out. Point he pressed against Loki's mouth without mercy. Shut up, Thor. And the Hulk pushed Loki forward, while the Mind Scepter was taken away by SHIELD, and the Cosmic Cube was put into the box by Tony Stark. Point see this scene. Point people who are watching the video seem to have realized something. Hey, I know. This hidden video should explain how they got the Mind Stone and Space Stone. Hiss. You are right. Both gems are here at this time, so they will definitely come to get it. But the Mind Scepter was taken away by traitors from S.H.I.E.L.D. and the Space Stone was in the hands of Playboy. How did they get it at the same time? It should be done separately. But as for whether this dog author is willing to show it to us together, I don't know. Damn. You're so right. This author knows how to whet your appetite. I bet he won't show us the complete video. Yes, you should be able to see how to get one of the gems this time, so be satisfied. Countless People said angrily point in their eyes, although the author named Lin Lan has superb editing skills, but I really like to edit a complete plot into several videos, so they all agreed that this time, they might only be able to see how to obtain one gem point, but despite this they are also very satisfied. The sense of anticipation was heightened. They want to know how they got one of the gems. The video continues. The Avengers escorted Loki into the elevator, but just when the Hulk wanted to go in, Tony Stark strongly stopped him. Hey, what are you thinking about? You must be overweight when you come in. After saying that, the elevator goes down. Hate stairs. The Hulk walked towards the stairs angrily. Everyone saw this scene. There was laughter, but some people frowned slightly. Because the video did not reveal who came to take away the gem. Previously, the Hulk went to the temple, and later Thor returned to the divine realm of Asgard. So who is it this time? Just when some people are confused. The video continues. I saw Tony and his party preparing to leave. He was stopped by the Secretary General. Demanding the seizure of Loki and the seizure of the Tesseract from Stark. The prisoner is in our hands. Loki can only be judged by Odin himself. Thor showed no sign of weakness standing in front of Loki. I don't care what Odin wants, and I have to give this box, which has been stored at SHIELD for the past 70 years. The Secretary General said. The men wanted to snatch the box. But at this moment a rushing sound suddenly sounded in the background. It shocked the hearts of countless people. Shocked. Then I saw Tony Stark, who was still arguing with S.H.I.E.L.D., suddenly convulsed and fell to the ground. See this scene. Everyone's curiosity reached its peak at this moment. Although they don't know what happened. But what happened in the next second shocked them. The moment Tony Stark fell to the ground. The white box fell to the ground. But the strange thing is sudden, accompanied by the rapid sound of music. The white box seemed to have been pushed hard and slid not far away. I saw a man wearing a black special forces uniform picked up the box and ran away. See this scene. Only then did countless people react. The people who came to collect gems turned out to have been waiting for this moment. It's just that they didn't see the face of this black figure and didn't know who he was. I don't even know how he did it. Holy crap. Just took it away without anyone noticing. It turns out that he has been hiding in the special forces. But why did the box slide next to Tony the moment he fell to the ground? Instead of discussing this, let's find out who this person is. Who cares who he is? At least he can get the cosmic Rubik's Cube, don't you think? Although countless people have many doubts, but there is a barrage. That is right. That's right. That's getting the cosmic cube. Now they knew how the cosmic cube was collected. But don't know why. The music became extremely quiet at this moment. It's like the calm before the storm. It made countless people feel nervous staring at the screen. Boom. Sudden. The hearts of countless people trembled suddenly with a violent impact. The black figure in the video was already carrying a box and preparing to evacuate. As a result, he happened to meet the Hulk coming downstairs, punched the door open, and even the black figure was knocked out. Then, Egypt was in the eyes of countless people in shock and disbelief. The cosmic cube flew out of the white box. Landed at Loki's feet. Holy shit, Hulk, you idiot. You almost succeeded. At ***. What do you want me to say about you? They still have a chance. After all, the cube is still on the ground. No, they have no chance. Countless people never thought of it. When you are about to succeed, Killer Hulk, they all yelled at the Hulk. This made Banner, who was watching the video, extremely aggrieved, but fortunately, everyone else's attention was on Tony Stark, who fell to the ground. So the person watching the video thinks still have a chance. As long as you are fast enough and run away after taking it, you can still succeed. But when they saw Loki looking around, they all swallowed hard, staring at the screen. I was praying in my heart that Loki wouldn't do anything wrong at this time. But will Loki really sit back and wait for death? Chapter 93. Of course not. When he realized that no one was paying attention to him, he bent down and picked up the cosmic cube and used the power of space. Disappeared directly on the spot. Silence. Speechless. Countless people froze in place. They didn't expect it at all. The attempt to seize the universe Rubik's Cube failed. And it also changed the timeline, causing Loki to escape. Countless people remember that Loki should have been escorted back to Asgard. However, because of the action of collecting gems causing Loki to escape. But this is not the most important thing. The most important thing is that the space gem is gone. Hiss. I didn't expect Loki to escape with the space gem. Wouldn't that be the end? Damn it Hulk. Damn it Loki. No. It's definitely not over. Don't forget the ending. They successfully collected 6 gems. Then, can they still collect space gems? Why do I feel that traveling to the past must have restrictions? I want to know too. A moment. The expectations of countless people were once again filled. Knowing the outcome, they felt confident. I believe the Hulk and others will definitely get the space gems. Now they want to know who is the figure who came to take away the space gem, and if the action fails, what will he do? How can I get the space stone again? All of this is like countless ants crawling in their hearts. They are eager to know. But that's it. The scene switches to Tony Stark. I saw Thor placing his hammer on the reactor and tapping it lightly. Tony Stark was rescued on the spot. But before Thor had time to be happy, then I discovered that Loki had disappeared. Where's Loki? Thor looked around. Stand up. The ending song also sounded at this time. Melodious and graceful. Give people countless space for imagination. Just when everyone thought it was over, the screen switches again. Or the elevator. Captain America appears in the elevator surrounded by Hydra men. I saw him leaning down and saying softly, "Long live Hydra." Then he carried the box containing the spiritual scepter and left here. Then the screen split into 2. On the left is Captain America carrying the suitcase, while on the right is Loki using the space stone to escape. The Thunder God chapter is officially over. At this time, Lin Lan's voice rang out. Suddenly the universe sighed. They never expected it. Captain America is actually an undercover agent of Hydra. And Loki also took away the space stone. Fuck. Damn. It looks so good. Are you telling me you're done with it? I'm so stupid. Captain America is actually a Hydra undercover? And where did Loki go? And how did they collect the space gems? The author should update it soon. Urge. For more updates, I just said that I would be satisfied if I could see how to collect a gem. You haven't collected even one damn one. Captain America is very undercover. He took away the mind scepter. There is also the space stone. He was snatched away by Loki. Please update quickly. Countless people are full of expectations again. But at the same time, my heart felt cold. Very cold. Although the video updated by this author is very nice. But it's also a great thing to whet your appetite. Just when they thought they would have to wait until tomorrow. The subtitle scrolled. I will update the video half a day early tomorrow. See you there. Holy shit. This author actually updates in advance. Countless people cheered excitedly, even if their hearts are as hungry as crawling with ants. But that doesn't stop them from celebrating. Am I dreaming? The author will update in advance. Oh my god, we must be dreaming. Hiss. I will never scold the author again. As long as the author updates in advance, I can say anything. Hahaha. I'm so happy. I finally don't have to wait so long. Who do you think the third superhero is? Yes, I really want to know who the third superhero is. I guess he must be someone more powerful than Thor. I don't think so. Don't forget that there is no distinction between rankings, not to mention that you can't get on the list just by relying on your strength. Yes, I'm looking forward to it. I feel like the later videos will reveal more things. Let's look forward to it together. I want to know what will happen next. Can they know the identity of Captain America's undercover agent? I'm so anxious. And how on earth the space gems were collected. I also want to know how these gems were collected. It feels so interesting. If you travel from the future to the past, some interesting things will definitely happen. For example, when Frigga saw the fat Thor, she was so funny and wanted to cry. Yes, there is Thanos in the final battle. Can they succeed? I feel like the answer will be revealed soon. Countless People's faces immediately changed from angry and impatient to smiling. They are looking forward to who the third superhero will be. And looking forward to why Captain America is an undercover agent, what he will do after he fails to seize the space gems, and how he collects other gems. What we are looking forward to most is the final battle, but they believe it. The last few videos will surely reveal the answer. Their anticipation was once again heightened. It's just that the Earth doesn't seem to be peaceful. What? Captain America is a Hydra undercover agent. Thanks to the readers. Add 15,051 for the 100 reward. 69. The third superhero, Captain America. We actually failed. The space gem was taken away by Loki at this time. This side of the Earth. When the Avengers saw Loki running away with the space stone. His face was full of shock and disbelief. They couldn't believe that their plan to return to the Battle of New York to collect gems had failed. The space stone fell into Loki's hands. They really can't think of any other way to obtain the space gem. This damn Loki. I should beat him to death in the future. See this scene. Banner was so angry that he almost transformed. Of course. He was more ashamed and blamed himself. It was because of him in the future that the box fell off. This is why many people scolded him on the barrage. But his temper is much better now. Able to control myself. Then he asked, who is this black figure? I really want to say sorry to him. Here. Banner's words. Everyone shook their heads. Chapter 94. They didn't see the face of this figure either. In addition, the body shape has no characteristics. It's even more impossible to guess. Just a moment of silence in my heart. If you were hit by the Hulk like this, your bones would probably fall apart. Only Tony Stark remained silent. He felt that this person was very much like him, and he noticed a detail in the video. That is my future self. Why did the reactor have problems at this critical moment? That must be someone's intention. But people who don't understand the reactor will directly lead to the death of their future selves to a large extent. And the only one who can do this is myself. But he just thought about it in his mind and didn't say it out loud. After all, I have watched so many videos. He became less and less convinced that he could make the list. But after seeing this figure, his heart was pounding. A touch of excitement. It would be a lie to say that I'm not looking forward to it. He also wants to be on the list and then slap these people in the face. But he still remained silent. He didn't want to be crazily humiliated on the barrage like a certain prince. Just when everyone was thinking about what they would do after the cosmic cube was taken away by Loki. Suddenly, the video goes to the other side. In the elevator, Captain America bent down to a bald man's ear. They were immediately filled with anticipation. What on earth would he say, however? When they heard Captain America say the words "Long live Hydra," my heart is even more trembling. The pupils expanded rapidly, and everyone gasped. Captain America turned out to be an undercover agent of Hydra. Previously in Wanda's video, they saw this group of people take away the Mind Scepter and then appear at the Hydra base. So the group in the elevator must be from Hydra. And Captain America actually said the words "Long live Hydra" directly. This is equivalent to telling everyone directly. Captain America is undercover. Silence. Speechless. Throughout the laboratory. No one said a word. My heart felt like a turbulent wave and I couldn't calm down for a long time. They shifted their attention from the dimensional platform to Captain America, looking forward to him giving an explanation. Steve, I think you need to give us an explanation, Tony asked. Others also looked at Captain America, as if examining him. Honestly. No matter how you look at it. Captain America doesn't even look like an undercover agent. What's more, this guy just slept 4 decades before being unfrozen. So they are very confused. No matter what you think, I only have one thing to say. I'm not an undercover agent. Captain America sticks to the justice in his heart. No matter what anyone says, he adheres to and unswervingly implements his own justice. Even now everyone doubts it. He still stood there, above board and open-minded. When everyone heard this, they frowned. Although they don't have much contact with Captain America. But judging from his behavior, he is always so resolute and never sloppy. He not only has strong execution ability, but also has strong leadership ability. However, they cannot choose to believe, based on their first sense. This is irresponsible for the safety of the Earth and the Avengers. So T'Challa stepped forward and said, "Captain, I'm afraid I have to wrong you. If the follow-up video doesn't explain this matter, you may have to stay here for a while." Finished. It just so happened that Nick Fury came here. He was originally the one who returned to SHIELD to clean up Hydra. But I didn't expect that in the video Captain America actually said such a passage. This shocked him to his core. Came here quickly. Originally, he wanted Captain America to lead this team of superheroes to resist disasters that might come at any time. But now, he was confused. Very confused. "Steve, I feel sorry for you." Finally. Nick Fury still sighed. The Avengers are now in disarray. Only battles or other experiences can continue to unite them. Now they have never fought together naturally. We are not united enough. So once I rely on my personal senses to justify Captain America, it will make people even more panicky. And he has always been cautious. No matter it's his closest comrade, or whoever he is, just a hint of suspicion. He would imprison them without hesitation. Of course. Although sometimes doing so is just a cover-up for him. How can you be so calm? Just when Captain America was about to be imprisoned. Spider-Man Peter Parker couldn't bear it. He obviously has a lot of faith in Captain America. Because Captain America is his idol. Their spiritual qualities are very similar. But Steve just shook his head, handed over the shield, and said, "What matters is not what we say, but what we do. Stick to your heart, and they will see it." Finished. Steve was taken to a heavily guarded and high-tech confinement room. And saw this scene. Everyone was silent. Steve's words touched them deeply, looking forward to the author giving them an explanation. If this author doesn't give an explanation, Hulk and I are going to get angry. Holy area. Asgard. When the gods saw Loki escaping with the cosmic cube. Their hearts were beating loudly. They never expected it. This god of trickery actually escaped. Loki is still the same Loki. Although he deserves a beating, I don't know why I'm happy to see him survive. Yes, this guy who died for his brother was actually changed by a sudden action. But what I'm more curious about is, where will Loki go? It goes without saying that with the cosmic cube, Loki can go wherever he wants. But what I'm sure of is that when Loki goes to a place, he wants to rule that place. This guy will never change his ways of, So right, maybe this is where Loki deserves a beating. Maybe. Later, there will be a video explaining where Loki went. I'm sure it will be interesting. Everyone was talking about Loki. Even Thor felt happy. Chapter 95. Watching your brother can change your destiny. No need to die on that spaceship. He was very pleased. At this time. Loki finally woke up. Suddenly I felt dizzy. I even wanted to pick up a knife and fight that little yellow thing. But when he got up. Then he found that countless people were looking at him with strange eyes. What happened? Why are you looking at me? Thor came over, patted him hard on the shoulder and said, "My good brother, your timeline has changed, and you may be able to survive." When Loki heard Thor's greasy words, he quickly stepped aside. Then he saw himself escaping with the cosmic cube. According to the normal timeline. He should be like what appeared in the Thor video, being held in a cell. The action of collecting gems caused his timeline to change. So where will you go? HMPH. With the cosmic cube, I will definitely be able to become the new king of Asgard step by step. Loki groaned inwardly. Feeling very good about myself. Just when everyone thought that just one gem had failed. Then I heard Captain America's words. This silenced countless people. Did the second gem also fail? They don't know. Only Loki smiled contemptuously. You stupid gods. The answer is obvious. Joke. As the god of trickery. How could you be deceived by the author's deception? This video looks like Captain America is undercover zero ask for flowers, but in fact, he had already guessed that it was Captain America who did it intentionally. After all, collecting gems should be low-key. Rather than going to war, it would be better to do the opposite. Good. Got my Rocky vibe. When the gods heard this, their expectations were filled. Could it be that Loki already knew what happened? Even Thor patted him anxiously. Loki, please tell me. HMPH. You should give the reward to the author first, not to mention you have been laughing at me before. How could I let you know? Loki crossed his arms, looking arrogant. This made the gods furious. Fortunately, they were crying for this guy just now. He still looks like he deserves a beating. If it weren't for Odin. They have already rushed forward. And the god of thunder heard this. I also thought about it. In fact, he had already thought about what to reward the author. That's Thor's hammer. That's right. He still remembered the battle with Hela. Without a hammer, it's like losing your backbone. Without any fighting power, if it weren't for Odin's guidance. He may have felt that he was going to fail. So he plans to become the real god of thunder from today on, not the god of hammers. Give Thor's hammer a reward to the author. Anyway, you can go back in time and get it back. Finished. The hammer in Thor's hand disappeared. So looking forward to what the next video will be. And that's exactly what the rest of the universe expects. 0 because this time, the video is half a day ahead of schedule. They don't want to sleep or do anything else. They rolled up one after another, stay in front of the screen, waiting for the video to come. Ding. Congratulations to user Lin Lan for receiving Thor's reward, Thor's hammer. After improvement, no one except the host can lift it. The other side. Lin Lan, who had just finished editing the third hero, was taking a nap. Suddenly I heard the reward from dimensional platform. Suddenly a beam of light shone out of the screen. A hammer appeared in front of him. Reach out. Hold. Although it looks very heavy. But in Lin Lan's opinion, the weight is just right. Neither light nor heavy. You can even swing it back and forth. It will the whole space burst. But he didn't dare to show off his skills. If a lightning strikes down. The whole building might be gone. So I started to take a closer look at Thor's hammer under the illumination of the light. In addition to having a metallic silver appearance, there are also special patterns. It was as if some spell had been cast. Odin's words immediately came to mind. Use it as long as it's worthy. After all, Thor's hammer is except for those who are familiar with it. He has never seen anyone else use it. That's why. The dimensional platform is going to improve this reward. Only he can lift it, which is great. It seems they can't wait to see the third superhero video. After receiving the reward. Lin Lan became even more motivated. And he can also see the barrages on the dimensional platform. Almost all of them are words of reminder. It's just that he usually doesn't have time to read it. In the previous hidden video. He deliberately put up the scene of Captain America undercover. The reason for doing this, naturally, it is both appetizing and appetizing. It can also show the growth of Captain America. A huge reversal. The previous Captain America might have been like a war machine. Continuously execute orders, keep destroying enemies. But the Captain America in the back is more like a flesh and blood person. Emotions are richer and fuller. That's right. This is Lin Lan's own opinion. Captain America has always relied on a strong heart. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelos. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 96. It looks like nothing has changed. But he also grew up bit by bit into a flesh and blood person. As for why Captain America is placed at the end of the video to whet your appetite, that's naturally because the third superhero in the clip is Captain America. Yes, the protagonist of this video is Captain America, and there was a lot of criticism because of the universe's reminder, so Lin Lan moved the time forward by half a day. So time the video directly sent to the top of the dimensional platform, counting the top 10 superheroes. Number 3. Thanks to readers at 15,935 and 15,118 for their monthly votes. Factory 70. Even the gods admire his spirit. The whole universe was shocked. Time passed by minute. The next day soon came. Although it was only a 12-hour wait. But the universe is already in turmoil. As for why? It's not because Thor's video gave them a huge shock. It's not just Asgard that's doomed. Even the legendary dwarf planet that manufactures magical weapons suffered a devastating blow. Only AICUI is left. This makes people think, will their planet also be destroyed? Although They have had this idea before. Alternate questions group Beiju Sanjiu CCLIU, but under the influence of shocking motivational videos again and again. They came to believe that they could rewrite the future. But who would have thought? Thor's video directly knocked them into the trough again. Maybe your blood will boil while watching the video, and you will experience the joy, anger, sorrow, and joy from the perspective of Thor. But what about after watching the video? Go directly to the time of the sages during these 12 hours. The barrage on the video never stopped. Everyone is speculating on what will happen in the future. But the more they speculate, the more desperate they become. And because there are only 3 superheroes left that haven't been revealed yet. So their hope is even slimmer. After all, they are self-aware and know that their character or strength is not worthy of the title of superhero, of course, except for Star-Lord, who always feels good about himself. So many people are starting to make preparations to make sure they can escape immediately when a disaster strikes. Just when countless people in the universe are restless, it's almost time to release the video. Many people's nerves became tense at this moment. They all stopped what they were doing. There are still many questions in their minds that have not been answered. For example, why is Captain America an undercover agent? And why is Thanos resurrected? They want to know all this. They believe and look forward to getting the answer in this video, because they know the author very well. I really like doing this, but just like this, their curiosity and anticipation were filled at this moment. Who is the third superhero? The other side. On a huge spaceship. 12 hours passed. Thanos also experienced a profound reflection. Although I don't have the spiritual scepter now. But this does not affect his subsequent plans. Now he has sent his daughter Gamora to assist Ronan in winning the cosmic spirit ball. As long as he can get the power gem in at then you have the strength to resist those superheroes. But the scene where his head fell to the ground was still deeply ingrained in his mind. No matter how hard he tried to forget, he couldn't. Thunder. God Thor, I will definitely kill you all by then, leaving no one behind. Thanos's eyes revealed bursts of murderous intent. If he hadn't seen himself resurrected later in the video. Maybe he wants to lead the army into Asgard now. Fortunately, he controlled his anger. Now we just need to wait for the power stone to be delivered. But at this moment. The ebony-throated voice rang out. Gamora, who went to assist Ronan, was arrested and put into prison. Boom. Just when Ebony Throat said this, Thanos' huge fist struck the seat. The powerful force erupted into a terrifying shockwave, and the pressure released made Ebony Throat tremble all over. Where's Ronan? Bring him to see me. Hateful. What he needs now is power. As long as Ronan helps him find the cosmic spirit ball, he will help Ronan destroy Xander. But what are you telling me now? My daughter was arrested under your nose. How can I bear this? Thanos was extremely angry. Although Gamora and Nebula are both his adopted daughters, but let's talk about emotions. His favorite must be Gamora. So when I heard the news, that's why he's so angry, seeing the situation. Ebony Throat on the side also trembled all over and said quickly, yes, I'm going now. Ebony Throat ran away. And just then. Nebula on the side reminded, the inventory video is about to begin. Maybe we can get more information you want. Father, when Zingian said the word father full of hate. But Thanos didn't care. Just take a deep breath. Sitting above like a king, his eyes fixed on the screen, waiting for the video to start. Wakanda. At this moment. After a small storm. Everyone gathered in the laboratory. Spare Junayang 893's offices in Aber. I saw the interior of the vessel filled with high technology. The body of the same model as Vision is lying quietly inside. Tony, Banner, Chala, Peter Parker and Wanda all stared upward nervously. I saw Sister Chala operating the Mind Stone removed from the Mind Scepter, and then slowly placing it into the groove on Vision's forehead. Accompanied by a crisp clang. Everyone's hanging hearts were relieved one after another. Then I saw the vessel being charged, channeling the power of the Mind Stone. But when charging. There was a crisp buzzing sound throughout the space. Chapter 97. Even though the Mind Stone is primarily about the mind. But the energy contained within it shocked everyone present. Boom. At the moment when charging is completed. Vision broke through the vessel and flew out. Then I came to the window of the laboratory and looked out the window quietly. Wanda, my love, Vision, Mermaid point although he is just a robot point, but he has the mind stone and an intelligent program point so being able to have human emotions until his data network captured the video of the dimension platform point he seemed to have seen the future where he fell in love with a scholar witch named Wanda point and the experience was so miserable that it is difficult to describe it in words and just when everyone was looking at vision point Peter Parker reminded the video is about to start. The third superhero will be announced soon. Spirit everyone immediately turned their attention to the dimensional platform. Long after all, the third superhero is more important. 5.1 The time has finally come 9 It's exactly what the author said 1 The video was released 12 hours early. To this moved countless people to tears. 4 Finally no more waiting 24 hours. 2 Although some people think that they are quite worthless and are satisfied with this 4, but who said the video edited by this dog author is good looking? 3 I saw an update below the author's account point countless people in the universe clicked in frantically point they are looking forward to who the third superhero is. The video begins whoops. Wow. The cold wind howled and the water surged point it looks like a glacier probably not as majestic as Mount Everest in the Doctor Strange video point, but the picture in front of me makes people feel lonely and peaceful. That's right point novel Quan 1 It's 2-1 in a point despite the cold wind and waves, but when the soft music sounds, these cold winds and waves seem to speak of loneliness, making countless people's hearts sink and feel peaceful point this is difficult for everyone to understand point after all. The ranking goes up point what is revealed at the beginning is generally very informative point, but why does this hero only have a glacier and nothing else? It seems because the beginning is not a exciting point everyone started discussing. What's going on? Why is it a glacier? Why do I feel a flavor of death and loneliness? I don't know. It seems that the author's editing has changed again this time and is even more appetizing. Just when everyone thought that was all at the beginning point whoops. Whoops. The howling of the cold wind increased point the camera zooms far into the sky point a huge plane is seen passing by in the upper right corner of the video point the scene was as shocking as 3D, making countless people think that a plane was about to come out and they were all frightened. Holy crap. I'm scared to death. This dog author, it's numb. I thought I was just going to show it to a glacier, but suddenly a plane came. As the background music changes from soft to sad point countless people also became nervous in their hearts they all stared at the screen with bated breath point want to know what happened. Boom. Accompanied by a loud bang 0, the huge plane hit the glacier, with countless thick smoke billowing and roaring. The fuselage slid on the glacier for nearly a few hundred meters before stopping. The hearts of countless people also trembled suddenly with a loud noise at this moment. Click, click, the sound of ice breaking was heard point every sound is like a knife cutting into people's hearts, followed by tension and sadness then I saw the huge plane, with countless ice blocks breaking, sinking into the bottom of the sea, solitude, and peace point when low. Melodious music plays in the background point it's like hearing the cry of a whale in the deep sea, full of loneliness, as if it has sunk to the bottom of the sea, which makes people feel panicked point, although they don't know what happened point, but they can guess that, if there is someone else in the plane, there is a high probability that he will not survive, but at this moment point Lin Lan's deep and magnetic voice sounded. Next. Let's start counting the third of the top 10 superheroes. He is a pure person who is not tempted by external influences. All his actions are based on his heart, so almost all his decisions are on the right path. The strong are born with strength, so they lose their respect for power, while the weak only understand the value of strength, love, and compassion. The phrase "I can keep fighting" that he often talks about represents his noble character of perseverance and tenacity, and not surrendering to fate. Just like his destiny, he will always fight. It's just that he has never fought purely for himself. Even if he has died once for the world, he will still have no hesitation when the next disaster comes. He is not a god, but his spirit makes even the gods admire him. Boom. When Lin Lan finished speaking point huge waves arose in the hearts of countless people. Their curiosity was wildly aroused. Who on earth can get such high praise from the author? Just hearing the reviews a figure appeared in their minds. Even if he was knocked down countless times, he would always stand up again, unyielding, and repeat those words in his mouth. They are ashamed of themselves for such noble virtues. But what they didn't expect was even more. The author actually said that even the gods admire his spirit. Countless people's expectations were raised to their peak at this time. They know that ranking strength is not the only factor in ranking. Noble moral character and spirit is also considered. From the beginning till now. Many heroes have more or less noble moral character, but it can be so affirmed by the author there is only this one, so they wanted to know whose spirit even the gods admired. Who is it? I'm so curious now. This is the first time the author has given such a high rating of 1.3. Yes, this highlights from the side that this hero should really have extremely noble moral character and spirit. Don't stop, author. Keep talking. Countless people held their breath and stared. Wild speculation. Just when their expectations were filled. Lin Lan's voice continues, counting the top 10 superheroes. Number 3, Captain America Steve Rogers. Reason for being on the list: he is pure, he represents justice. He never fights for himself, he always fights for others. Even if he died once for the world, when disaster strikes again, he still has no hesitation. Step by step, he grew from a thin and asthmatic soldier to a flesh and blood Captain America. He is indomitable, noble and extremely pure at the same time. He believes in freedom and justice. As long as he is around, he can make people feel at ease. He is not a god, but his spirit is admired even by the gods. Silence. Speechless. When Lin Lan's voice resounded throughout the universe. Countless people stood there dumbfounded. Chapter 98. His face was full of shock and disbelief. No matter how much they thought about it, they couldn't figure it out. The one who received such high praise was Captain America. Holy shit, isn't he an undercover agent of Hydra? Why is it on the list? The hearts of countless people were beating suddenly, and their curiosity and anticipation were filled at this moment. What happened? Why is Hydra's undercover agent also on the list? They need an explanation. A perfect explanation. 71. Steve's noble character. He deserves this serum. What the hell? Just when the author announced the third superhero. The universe is beginning to become restless. They had just racked their brains to think about who had the spirit to be worthy of this evaluation. As a result, you told me that it was Captain America Steve Rogers. Holy shit, isn't he an undercover agent? What? A shame. Didn't you say in the last video that he was an undercover agent? How could he be the third superhero in the blink of an eye? I was so stupid. Holy crap. Why Captain America? I don't understand. This is completely unreasonable. What on earth do you think, dog author, that an undercover agent can be on the list? Wait a minute. In the last video, the author didn't say that Captain America was an undercover agent. That was all our speculation. Maybe there's a twist. Reversal. Good guy. Countless people took a breath of cold air after watching so many videos. They have deeply realized how powerful this author's editing skills are. Not only is it a mouth-watering one, but the twist can only be described as making one's teeth itch with hatred. That's right. Every time it comes time for a reversal. Their hearts rise and fall like ocean waves. This is why they say that watching this kind of video feels like they are the protagonist. It's too easy to fall into it. When someone mentions this reversal on the barrage. They seem to realize it. They were deceived again. Hateful. Holy shit. What you said seems to make sense. I feel like the author is using reversal to arouse our emotions again. It's so abominable. Hiss. Where is this author? He won't be hiding somewhere to watch our jokes. He is really itching to hate him. Good guy, you first use the undercover scene to make us look forward to and angry at the same time. In fact, you are introducing the fact that Captain America is a superhero, and then make us surprised and confused, and arouse our emotions again. Dog author, no, I brought you to play like this. I feel like we've all been screwed, but I feel like I'm on fire again. I really want to know why Captain America said this very But this author's editing is very good, and his reversal skills are also very good. As a result, countless people watching the video were filled with hatred. The Avengers members who were watching the video also looked at each other in confusion. It seems like they were also manipulated by the author and then misunderstood Captain America. Good guy. Tony felt his face burning now. He also didn't expect that all of them would be tricked by the author then. Captain America was imprisoned. Even Nick Fury's unselfish face is full of embarrassment. He quickly said to the little spider, "Go and release the captain. I think we misunderstood him." The little spider heard this. My heart is overjoyed. He always believed in his idol. Now I see idols on the list. Even more excited than being on the list. At the same time, he also wants to know what is the past and future of the captain. After all, reading history textbooks and watching videos are two completely different experiences, and Tony and others also think so. They want to know, is Captain America an antique from the last century? Really, as evaluated by the author, that even gods admire his character and spirit. The video begins in the eyes of countless expectants. Finally got the picture. Caught everyone's eyes. It's a place similar to an army. Countless soldiers in military uniforms are training in an orderly manner. Their voices are sonorous, powerful, and passionate. And all figures are so tall and mighty. But all attention was not on these outstanding soldiers, but on a short, thin person. He stood there, looking out of place with the soldiers around him. That's right. It's Steve Rogers. What? Why is Captain America so thin? Are you sure he is a superhero? Holy crap, everyone is stupid. Why can this thin guy be on the list? And let's not talk about the issue of being on the list. He can't even meet the standard if he joins the army, right? Hiss. I don't understand. Countless people saw this scene. The first reaction is that Steve is not even qualified to join the army. Not to mention becoming a superhero. They are confused. Feel puzzled. But at this moment, Lin Lan's deep and magnetic voice sounded. Perhaps some people have gone through one ordeal after another and awakened their heroic hearts. But Steve already had the heart to be a hero from the beginning. Even though he was rejected countless times, he remained unyielding. It was this perseverance that made a huge change in his life. When Lin Lan's voice sounded, the background music gradually became louder and more intense. The expectations of countless people are also full. They want to know what huge transformation this thin guy has undergone. The video seems to go back to before joining the army. Recruiting office. Steve's applications were rejected again and again. No matter how hard he tries, none of them meet the standards for enlistment. This allows people to see Steve Rogers' determination to join the army and serve the country. Then the video continues. Depressed and worried, Steve was watching a movie again when he found someone making rude remarks about the recruitment advertisement. He couldn't stand it and stood up to scold him. Then it was obvious he was taken to the street corner by this man and punished. Boom, boom, a dull crashing sound resounded. I saw that gangster punching Steve a few times. Every punch hit his face accurately, knocking him to the ground immediately, and it was like a giant hammer hitting people's hearts, shaking them endlessly. Progress slowly to the music. Just what people think. When Steve really fell down like this, that thin body stood up again. This went back and forth 3 times, even though blood oozed from the corners of Steve's mouth. And even though he was in great pain, he still stood up, assumed a fighting posture, and said without admitting defeat, "I can spend the whole day with you." Chapter 99. Wow. When Steve said this, everyone watching the video feels sorry for him. But it's more about admiration. I admire his spirit. Yes, even if you know your enemy is stronger than you. Even if he falls down again and again. But he never admits defeat, because he knows that if he gives up, he will give up countless times. Video continues. Friend Bucky appears and saves Steve. And took him to participate in the new technology exhibition. There are huge crowds of people and it's very lively. But in the picture, Steve's eyes were always on the recruitment advertisement. He still remembers this. Countless people saw this scene. There seems to be a sadness choking in my heart. Although the outside is colorful, his eyes only care about his dreams. They can feel it. Steve's desire, his unwillingness to admit defeat. I was deeply touched by this. I saw the screen change. In front of a glass billboard. People can stand and show themselves in uniform point. But when Steve stood up point, because he is not tall enough, he does not look like a soldier at all. But at this moment point Bucky found him point. I'm worried that my friend will be caught for cheating point. Keep trying to persuade Steve not to try again point. But Steve still refused to admit defeat and said, I don't want to go to the factory, Bucky. Everyone is fighting hard on the battlefield, and I can't hide behind. You won't understand this. I'm not trying to prove anything. That's weird. You just want to prove yourself, Bucky. Couldn't help but retort point. But he knows no matter what, he couldn't persuade his good brother to try point. So, before leaving point he ordered, don't do anything stupid until I get back. How could I? You have done stupid things. Finished point. The two hugged each other tightly point. See this scene point. Countless people have agreed with what the author just said point. That's right point. From the beginning, Steve had a hero's heart point, even though he knew he was weak point. But his determination never seems to back down, and he always firmly believes in what he believes in. No matter what others say or question, he will do what he thinks is right. That's right point. His perseverance is worthy of praise point. But based on this alone, can I join the army and become a hero? Just when people are confused point. The background music gets louder at this point. The organ sounded point. It's like walking out of the woods and seeing the vast world, which makes people feel suddenly enlightened point. Then everyone discovered that when Steve was communicating with Bucky, a guy wearing glasses had been paying attention to them point. So the sense of expectation and curiosity was filled point. Could this guy be the one who changed Steve's life? Really point. As expected point. Just when Steve was about to take another physical examination and falsify information to apply for enlistment point in the medical room point, the man wearing glasses walked in. It is illegal to falsify draft materials. Steve heard this. I felt panicked point. He originally thought he was going to be caught point. But I didn't expect that the guy wearing glasses in front of me didn't seem to have this intention point. So I heard him ask, you haven't answered my question yet. Do you want to kill Nazis? I don't want to kill anyone. I don't want to be a bully, no matter where I am, Steve said sincerely point. This is also the satisfactory answer to the doctor in front of him point. In the excited eyes of countless people point, Steve finally enlists. Then the scene came to the beginning scene again point. He was the only one standing there out of place point. Then do physical training point. No matter how hard he tries, the performance is far behind others point. At this time point, the doctor and the general appeared on the screen point. The general asked with great disdain, you don't really want to choose Rogers, do you? It's not that I have already decided on him, the doctor said very firmly point. He never looks at people in terms of strength point. It's always about inequality point. At this time, the two came to the front of the soldiers. The general still said disdainfully, kindness doesn't win the battle, it depends on courage. Finished point. The general threw a grenade without hesitation point. The background music suddenly became rapid, like the weightless feeling of suddenly falling from a high altitude. Countless people's hearts trembled. See this scene point. They started shouting curses one after another. Holy crap, did you throw the grenade directly? Isn't this general afraid of blowing them up? Countless people held their breath and stared point. They all suspected that the general was a madman point, and he was worried for Steve, hoping that they could avoid this grenade point. But how could they think of it point? The moment the grenade hit the ground, countless strong and powerful soldiers screamed and fled. Only that thin body rushed forward without any hesitation, buried the mine in his arms, and shouted crazily, run, hide, silence. Speechless, no one who is watching the video would have guessed point. When the soldiers were afraid to avoid him, Steve stepped forward without hesitation, and buried the mine in his arms. Wow. Countless people in the universe were in an uproar. Although the Steve they see now is thin and not strong enough point, but his spirit and character shocked them greatly. This can no longer be described simply as sublime. This also made them understand why the author had such a high evaluation of his spiritual character. Chapter 100. Video continues at 580 point. The doctor and Steve sat across from each other point. Steve didn't understand point. Why did the doctor choose him point? Logically speaking, since he is so thin, he is not the best candidate for a super soldier. But the doctor told him that serum is not yet mature. Depending on the person who uses it, the serum can enhance all abilities. The good ones are better and the bad ones are worse. So I chose you. Because the strong are born with strength, they lose their awe of strength, while the weak understand the value of strength, love, and compassion. Here the word Steve was still confused, but replied, "Thank you, although I don't understand much." Seeing Steve like this, the doctor smiled. Not caring whether he understood or not, he continued, "No matter what happens tomorrow, you have to promise me one thing. Never forget who you are. Not to be a good soldier, but to be a good person." When the doctor finished saying this, the hearts of countless people were deeply touched. Not being a good soldier, but be a good person. Yes, what the doctor looked at was Steve's inequality. That's why he wants Steve to be a good person who can save others and not puppet soldiers. The scene changes in a huge laboratory. Countless people are waiting here. The people who were watching the video were also nervous, because they are about to witness the superhero born in the last century, Captain America. The background music is also exciting and magnificent at this time. It seems to give people a feeling of a hero appearing on stage. In countless pairs of expectant eyes, I saw Steve entering the vessel and the instrument started. Countless people were extremely nervous. Sizzling, the sound of gas erupting sounded. The scene changes, the instrument slowly opened. Alternate to Group Beijing Temple. 4. Liu-0. A strong tall man walked out. It's Steve Rogers who just entered. The real Captain America was born. At this moment, passionate music sounded in the background, make countless people excited. It's this Captain America. He does deserve this serum. I am truly ashamed of his noble character. Indeed, as the author said, Steve really had a heroic heart from the beginning. 371729119. Yeah, I'm looking forward to what will happen next. I want to know why he died for the world. Countless people have recognized Steve and also learned how he went from a thin asthmatic little man to a muscular and powerful Captain America. But what they want to know more is after Steve becomes Captain America. What kind of experience have you had? Because they remember one of the author's comments, even if he died once for the world, when disaster strikes, he still steps forward without hesitation. The sense of expectation is once again filled at this moment. Thanks to the reader's ad for his monthly ticket of 15,180. 72. Bucky's death. The regret of that dance in Shield. Love. Hi. You are indeed my idol. At this time. Wakanda. After releasing Captain America. Spider-Man Peter Parker exclaimed. His face was full of excitement and shock. Although he revealed in previous videos that he may fight Captain America in the future. But that doesn't stop him from admiring Captain America. As for what to worship. That is naturally the noble character and spirit of Captain America. But I learned it from books. There are still many differences from what you see in the video. Because in the book, there are only the military exploits made by Captain America. But he never mentioned that before he was injected with the serum, he was a thin young man who had been rejected countless times. Not to mention that he was specially recruited and performed shockingly in the grenade test, finally qualified as a super soldier. After watching this scene. It's not just Peter Parker, Banner, Chala, Wanda and Tony were all impressed by his spirit. Then he shifted his gaze from the dimensional platform to Steve, who had just been released. Apologize one by one. But Steve didn't speak. His eyes seemed to have been stuck on the woman who flashed past in the picture. Because of the emergence of dimensional platforms, he was found. But in his heart, he could never forget the dance he had promised. Is she okay now? At this time, Steve's pupils dilated sharply. Shortness of breath. My heart was pounding. I saw scenes of him and Peggy appearing in the video. Peggy, still so beautiful, still so beautiful and generous. Just when he was lost in memories, Lin Lan's voice sounded in the video. Steve succeeded and became Captain America. He has outstanding military exploits and is covered with countless honors. He is like a spiritual pillar for people, giving them hope that the war will be won. But while singing all the way, aren't there any setbacks and regrets? Lin Line finished speaking. The background music suddenly becomes sad. The reversal came too suddenly. When countless people thought that Captain America was cheating and singing all the way from now on. Lin Lan's voice was sonorous and powerful, as if it had a penetrating effect, directly hitting the hearts of countless people. Yes, even as strong as Thor, I also grow through constant loss. Then Captain America, why doesn't he experience setbacks and regrets? And they also saw the video of Steve riding in a car with a beautiful woman who seemed to be a perfect match. Hoo-hoo. Cars drive on the street. And video. Steve looked a little bewildered. Apparently he rarely rides in the same vehicle as a woman. But he did find the topic. He pointed out the window and said, I know this neighborhood well. I've been beaten in that alley, and that parking lot, and the back of that restaurant. When Steve said this, people who are watching the video want to laugh and feel distressed at the same time. I wanted to laugh because Steve looked very nervous, as if he had met the girl he liked and was a little overwhelmed. And what hurts is that they can imagine that every time Steve is beaten, he will get up again and again and then say the words, I can spend the whole day with you. Then why don't you run away? A side point Peggy asked. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.